Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foul Ball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. This is the MFer Cocktail Lounge, our unofficial FNT follow-up show. It's not a follow-up show to FNT, but it's totally kind of sort of is. But thank you for joining us. We got a nice healthy chat right out the gate. Really appreciate that. And a few new characters are joining us today. But, some of these rapscallions. We got Jake Vigilante, Joe the Red Ace Freeze. Also have that 70s rock fan. Hello.
Hail
welcome.
All.
Hail all.
Great entrance timing.
And it's Friday. You know what time it is. Grab yourself a drink. We're going to talk a little shit, have a little bit of fun. We're going to get into Ace Mr. Freeze's domestic abuse situation. Collect some donations for his shelter. I'm just kidding. Jake D, how you doing, buddy?
Dude, I am just happy as hell to be here, dude, because it has been a hell of a week. It's the end of the quarter for us here at work, so this week has just been hectic as hell, but happy to end it here at the Cocktail Lounge.
Heck yeah. Another straggler real quick. It's 24/7. What up?
Hey,
got
what's
a
good?
stacked show. This is very FNT tonight. We have a real stacked show.
What is this FNT you speak of? This is where the real action is.
There we go. That's the attitude to have.
Ace Mr. Freeze. This is your second FNT, right? I mean FNT. Jesus,
You see, you've taken over already.
yeah.
We're already past it.
Watch out,
This
Gary.
is my second cocktail lounge, but I've lurked in the chat a bit.
Right on. Well, I'm glad to have you. I like you on the member streams. I always think you make interesting contributions, and I know you're launching your channel soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm gonna start recording on Sunday morning before that member stream. So hopefully I'll let you guys know how it went.
Cool.
Domestic abuse notwithstanding.
Listen, man, you gotta kick her out.
Let's just say we beat the other team 3-1, maybe 4-1 if the referee wasn't, stingy about forward passes.
Are you saying you beat her like 3 out of 4 times, but this one time she got the better of you?
It's a co-ed league. Everybody gets what happens to them.
So which was it a woman on the other team?
No, it was just some dude who sucks.
So wait, for the rest of the class, what in the hell happened? Because I'm lost.
Oh, so I play like rec ball hockey, which is just like a ball and a stick, and you just shoot it around in a rink that there's no ice in. So it's pretty fun, but someone just shot a ball directly in my face, and that's what happens.
Ooh.
I have a whole album of just crappy bruises of myself that I don't show people.
Ooh, that sucks. Well, F in the chat for not only your face, but for 24/7's internet connection as he got dropped out.
Yeah.
So let's put F in the chat for both.
Yeah, or hopefully
F.
not the CIA.
I still maintain you got mouthy with your woman, man. I know what happened.
No.
Well,
Trust me, if I had a woman, I'd be trying to get her to play ball hockey.
That's true.
League.
I'm sure you would.
That's what they call it these days. That's what they call it now. Ball hockey. Okay.
They call it a lot of things nowadays.
A lot of things. If they call it ball hockey, the world's fucked.
I don't know if you know this.
Pretty sure
the world
there are
is
no
indeed
women
fucked
in that version of ball hockey.
Yeah.
And he's back.
Hey.
He's back. He's back.
So
And joining us again, I think maybe for the third time, if I'm not mistaken, and sporting the Drunk 3PO T-shirt of solidarity. Welcome to the rebellion. We have that 70s rock fan. Hello, sir.
Hello, my friend. Thank you for having me back. I must say I'm surprised after the last time that you're having me back. But
Wait, look at this.
Well, it's all come into existence.
all is forgiven.
That was impressive.
Speaking of drunks, 3PO and he shall appear, apparently.
Yeah.
Hail Jay.
I get my Beatles hat on too, Sergeant Pepper hat. So.
LJ.
Rock and Star Wars. So there we go.
Oh.
So I do want to know how much those autographed Gina pictures that you got are going for on eBay, Jay.
You lucky devil. If you want to come here and talk, man, if you're down drunk, I would love to hear more about that dinner. Holy heaven.
Speaking of hot woman, since you just spoke Drunk 3PO into existence, I'm just going to say Kelly Brook's name in the hope that somehow I can speak her into existence. 10K.
Yeah,
10K.
we all discovered Kelly Brook on Wednesday.
Yeah.
This 8 p.m. Well, follower or chatter, he knows her. He's like best friends. She's just like ridiculous.
Super hot.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Drunk, we'll send you the link if you feel like coming in. Come on in. I know Comics is coming in a little while, so you're welcome to do so. Can someone do the honors to send Mr. 3PO the link?
I'm pretty drunk already. No pun. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try.
I'm gonna have to
No
get one
pressure,
of those,
Drunk.
I'm gonna have to get one of the blue T-shirts now.
That's pressure. Come on the show.
Jealous
We
of
want
the
more
blue
ratings.
one. It's nice.
Yes, pressure, he says.
We want more ratings. We want people to pay attention to us. Please.
We're going to piggyback off your success.
Yes.
That's right. Ride that success.
Ride that success. Well, Vigilante.
Speaking of
my
riding
partner.
success, I've been riding your success. It's cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, speaking of my success, holy crap, please make sure you're still subscribed because my numbers are horrible. I keep going down no matter what I do, and I'm like, I just laugh at it now. I was like, I lost another sub.
It's not you, man.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Not your fault.
No, I was unsubscribed from a bunch of channels just yesterday,
Oh,
and I was just like some of my favorite channels. Like, what's going on here?
Okay.
So there's an issue.
It's not me, apparently. I
guess
have my
I should
doubts,
subscribe
but,
to you then, Matt. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. If you're not subbed, please do so, and just double check to make sure you are, because it's fucking with my self-esteem, and I don't like this feeling.
You see,
Yeah.
this is why you should have a
Please,
channel that has very few subscribers because you don't miss any if you lose them.
Yes, I always, if I had when I had 60, if I went down to 59, I'd be like, what? What'd I do?
Yeah, it would hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't send it to drunk. I mean, granted, I'm a Twitter boomer, so I'm like, I may be doing something wrong, but it doesn't look like
Jake, he's in your Discord, right?
Not in mine, but I think he's in Nerdrotics, and I can find him from there.
Yes,
I've
you
never
go.
accepted my friend request on Discord.
Yeah, I have no access.
too cool.
Yeah, he really
You
is.
want
He's
those
cool for me.
neurotic people in your chat.
He's above us. He's
Sketchy.
above us. And last, I guess, I imagine 24/7's coming back, but currently, there he is. Yeah, he's back. Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
24/7.
Let's try this again.
We'll just leave him be for now.
Yeah.
Hey, Red Shirt, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
Right
It was a
on.
long day, but it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Well,
This is the
glad to have
capstone of the day.
I think you're wearing maroon today. Just if we're going to be technical, Chief.
Maroon.
It's maroon.
It was clean and it fit.
I just got this shirt. I kind of want a little bit of credit for it because I think it's like the coolest thing ever.
What is it? I can't see because I'm blind.
It's like the tie poster for Total Recall.
I can
nice.
read that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
nice.
Snazzy.
Very
Pretty
nice.
rad. Pretty
Yeah,
rad.
yeah.
24/7. Are you there, my friend?
Yeah, I'm here.
There.
Cool.
The booming voice. Yeah, I'm here. How's it going, man?
Oh, he just left.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
man.
CIA.
Dude.
You already
CIA.
canceled
Murking
Friday Tights like twice.
I know.
They stopped it because of the damn internet. And now
Commercial.
you're fucking with 24/7.
Yeah.
24/7's got
seriously.
such a great voice. He doesn't want to overdo it for us. We're getting too excited.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time.
He does just make me feel like a little girl. I'm just like, oh god, so big, so powerful.
Oh boy.
Let's say what up to the chat. We got I got Lord Sloth.
Wait. I haven't done the intro. I feel awkward.
Oh,
Intro.
yeah.
Vigilante wins here on the 15th episode of the MFer Cocktail Lounge. And
Boom.
now we can go to chat. I just
Now we can go to the chat. Now
I
it's
have another
official.
breakdown.
It's
like,
official. I like
baseball player and their like habits and shit. Like they have to do the same thing, or they can't do the show.
it. Yeah. It's like an OCD itch. You're like, you gotta lock the door like 17 times. I gotta say it. Gotta say it. We got Mad Mardigan is in the chat. Hey, Matt. If Drunk doesn't want to join, I can jump on. Well, we'll see. We got a fucking stacked ass show today, man. I want you back on, Matt. I got to get you on the Discord so I can I'm trying to be like professional and schedule. I don't know how it's working out. I'm not a very professional guy, but I was just trying to keep the show a little more orderly. But I love Mad Mardigan.
5 minutes, and Gary started, I think, within an hour. So
yeah. Did you guys watch that catastrophe that like going up and down and up and then down, and then they just started like an hour and a half later?
No. Yep. No, I went swimming.
Oh, no. I was there through the whole debacle.
It was pretty rough.
Good times.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty funny. But let's say hello to the chat because we got a lot of regulars here. And it's nice to see Robert. Hello, Robert. Stacked like Kelly Brooks. Yes, indeed. The Islington girl is here. Hello, the Islington girl. Have a big glass of broken dreams here in the gulag. And additionally, she sent us a $5 super chat and says, "You guys make me laugh." Thank you so much. We try.
Thank you.
That it works.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. This bunch of clowns can make someone laugh.
There we go.
Normally, we have to just amuse ourselves.
Yeah, I know. Got the Nerdporial Lifeform is here. Hello, Nerdporial Lifeform. Oh, I've heard him talking like super chats on is it Gary on FNT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about his channel. How's that going, man? I hope it's going well. I think I encourage everyone to start channels if you want to. It's fun, and there's nothing that says you can't. So do it. It's a blast. It's turned me into a beautiful butterfly. I've metamorphosized.
Are you sure you're not still at the caterpillar stage?
I'm not even the right insect. That's not.
I was thinking more like a moth, but
yeah.
I was gonna say, he went in a caterpillar and came out a gypsy moth.
Yeah. Just kind of like, ugh. No, it's not really an improvement. Man of War 665, neighbor of the beast. Hello. New Bomb Turk is here. Jock Nerdy for $5. Thank you very much, Jock Nerdy. Asking what we're all drinking. Well, let's go around the horn.
Bullet bourbon for me.
Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve.
Hell. 2-4
Sleeping Giant gins.
Yeah.
Sleeping Giant.
I have
70s?
a Craigellachie malt whiskey. Craigellachie. Very good malt whiskey.
You're probably the only person that could pronounce that on this
I'm
panel.
pretty sure I am.
Probably is.
You're like, what?
Famous grouse.
Famous grouse. 24/7. What you got going on?
Shit, I'm over here drinking Tito's.
Nice. Austin.
Vodka.
Right on.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm also drinking an Austin liquor. Live Oaks Pills. Boom.
Oh,
Local
cool.
brewery. Cheers.
There you go.
Slangevar.
Yeah, cheers.
Slangevar. That's how that's pronounced? I always thought it was Slangevar.
Yeah. That's the Irish. Irish Gaelic is slightly different from Scottish Gaelic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not that I can speak either of them. So don't put me on the spot. Hydrum ho, that's the closest I get.
I mean, I wouldn't know. You could have just made sounds. And I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Hey,
Sure.
hey, hey.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Finite SA is here. New Bomb Turk. Small Time. Hello, Small Time. I think that's most everyone who's chatted. Hello, welcome. This is the Cocktail Lounge. Oh, Godzillionaire's here. What up, Godzillionaire?
Hell, guys are in there. Hell, Man of War 665, neighbor of the beast.
Yes,
Like saying
hail.
that.
My first super chat ever.
We lost 24/7 again.
Yeah, it's like a flicker. It's just
Yeah.
kind of keep flicking on.
He's
and on
like
a light bulb.
Kirk in that original Star Trek episode where he fades in and out
Yeah,
between
yeah.
universes.
And a $2 super chat coming in from the Nerdporial life form. Remember, it's okay to be nerdporial. I concur. Because what is it? Corporeal? Because I heard you like describe like the nature of the channel. So what is it again? Oh, that's where I heard it in the member stream. That's where I know. Because I was like, I have a detailed. Okay. What's corporeal mean? Like of a body or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Basically.
Yes.
Right on. So
tie in. And yeah, you're already doing really good. You said you only have 2 videos. It took me a long time to get like a video over 100, and you already have 2 of them. And you have
didn't
60,
he say
like 70
like
subs.
60 or 70 subs? You know how long that took me?
Yeah. It took me forever. It took me like 4 or 5 months. So
like a while.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
And like
man.
100 videos.
I was
like,
sitting on 5 subs for like a long time. Like months.
Well, wait till YouTube gets a hold of you. We'll get you back down there. Trust me.
Yeah, I know, right? They're trying. They're doing their best. They're just putting a weight around me and just dropping me off a boat. It's brutes.
Yeah,
Ginger.
Oh,
Hey, Ginger.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Just saying hi to people.
I think I've made it up to 57 now, which isn't bad. 57.
Not bad.
I'm feeling
Hey.
good.
That's great. That's where I was right before I made like one video that got me, I don't know, a few hundred. So
Yeah, Nerdporial. I don't know 69 people I don't have a Facebook, and I don't know 69 people in real life. Like the idea, you can tell people. I don't know that many people in real life. I know like 2 people.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. Neither do I. I mean, for real, y'all here and on the other various streams that we do. I mean, you guys are my boys. It's
Yeah.
yeah, right. No, I swear to God. I mean, and the thing too was I was going to go on and say things that I didn't feel I could say anywhere else, like in my social circles. If I started just trashing, woke culture, people would be horrified. Like they wouldn't know what to make of it. So I didn't want to go and ask anybody because it was like, is this going to destroy all these relationships? Then I realized I didn't care. But at the time I was like, this doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
Real quick. Man of War, Neighbor of the Beast. Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast. For a super chat for $6.65 says, you always remember your first time. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You were very gentle. You treated me, you made me feel beautiful. So
I always
thank
picture
you.
Man of War 665 living next door to Bruce Dickinson for some reason. Bruce Dickinson and Iron Maiden. I don't know why. I keep thinking he lives next door to Iron Maiden.
If he's the neighbor of the beast, you're saying Bruce Dickinson?
Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden singer. You know the band Iron Maiden?
Yeah, I'm saying, are you saying he's Satan? Because if he's the neighbor of the beast.
No, I just feel like he's living next door to Bruce Dickinson for some reason.
That's what I mean. He's the neighbor of the beast.
Yeah, I know. I just picture Bruce Dickinson.
Real quick about first super chats. You were my second super chat, that 70s rock fan. Like Eric K beat you by like a few seconds.
I know that,
but
I've never forgiven him for that.
I appreciate you both. You guys are kind of tied.
You loved your show from the start, sir. It was wonderful.
I mean, Man of War was a first of mine too, because I've never actually been in Vegas when somebody I knew got married, and there he was. We thought he was pulling our chain when he said he got married last night.
I thought so too. I was like, ha. No, he meant it.
Yeah, he really did get married while we were in Vegas.
Yep. Sure did. Sentient Dildo's here. Now the fun can begin. Hello, Sentient Dildo. Buzz. Lord Thoth. Hello, Lord Thoth. And he's right. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for notifications. Yes. If you know someone you think might actually enjoy this crap, no. Share it with them. Please, for crying out loud. Just so I could feel good about myself again. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you so much. But honestly, if you know someone you think might like it, share it with them. Maybe they will. I don't know. But good to see you all. Good to finally start the show. I was at work and I wanted to do a video about this so badly. But I guess yesterday, the Castlevania Season 4 trailer came out. Okay, show of hands. Who's a fan of Castlevania?
My hand is not raised. I have not seen it.
Ace, Mr. Freeze, not a huge fan, eh? All right, well, you're bounced.
No. It started off all right.
Beat it. Oh, go on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I watched the whole first season, and I have to say I enjoyed it. And I eagerly anticipated season 2. And like many other shows, it failed to live up to expectations. It made a lot of poor choices that are of its era.
What do you mean? You think it went woke?
Oh, I know it did.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Go on. All right. I want to hear this because I don't think so at all.
I mean, I felt like it did. And so I just stopped watching because I was like, you know what? I can watch other shows.
How did it, you know?
So like you have this main character who is pretty, you know, like not into it, which is fine, you know? And you follow his development for this whole first season, and he's got a pretty interesting family storyline.
Yeah. The Belmonts.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that sort of just drops off because we start getting into like really magical stuff. And like his friend who he was like working with, who had this really cool attitude. I felt like her attitude really, I can't remember, but I felt like her attitude really.
Oh, the girl or
the lady? Yeah, no, the lady.
Sypha.
Yeah, and like her attitude just changed so much in the second in the beginning of the second season. I was like, I like this cartoon, but not enough. So I quit.
I thought she was pretty consistent, honestly. I thought she was pretty sassy out the gate and just kind of was a take no bullshit kind of girl. She did need to be rescued by him, which isn't woke. And then they became teammates. And I don't feel that she was ever built up above anyone on the team. I don't think they were there to.
He's not a Mary Sue.
I'm just saying these are typically the earmarks of a woke, production, and so I thought they walked the line pretty well, and I thought there was the bonding of the three to really bring down Dracula, and even that wasn't quite enough. You really needed Alucard to kind of dig deep and take care of him. I don't know. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that wokeness? Because I mean, there is something I think Islington Girls talking about it, and at the end of the last season, which was a little different. I don't know if it was woke though. It might have it seemed in character. I don't. Have you guys seen?
Maybe I just thought it was bad. I don't know. It didn't continue in its quality. I felt, and so I just let it go.
This is the conversation we're having a lot now, though. I mean, is something just bad, or is it woke, or is it something that isn't really woke, but it has woke elements that we would have ignored before because they were okay. There was nothing wrong with them. But now we see it as woke every time, even though it might be just strong female lead, you know. It's a conversation we're having all the time.
Yeah, we've been sensitized to it to the point where we can't ignore it even when it's incidental.
Yes.
Yes. They're living rent free in our heads. I gotta just say, it's me too.
Not totally, because I stopped watching. But you know, like I didn't think the first season had it. It's just like when I started at the second, or maybe it was the third. I probably breezed through the second.
I don't know.
It just sort of didn't.
Sorry, I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to go with a vision. I don't know if living rent free in our heads is accurate. Because it's not like we live in their heads rent free, because all we're saying is we just want our stuff back and we want entertainment to be good again. We're not saying we want to go into your stuff and change it into our agenda. We just want our stuff back. So we like them living in our heads is because they've invaded every single thing we enjoy, destroyed it, bastardized it, and then shoved it up our ass. And we're like, you don't like it? It's like, no, I don't.
I don't disagree with that part, but it's come to the point where everything we watch, we can't help but to acknowledge it, and we can't help but to is that what? I'm not saying it's for no reason. I'm not saying it's unwarranted. I'm just saying that's kind of that's what is the result of what they've done. So anytime we see a girl character or any character, you're like, oh, what's going to happen here? Is there going to be agenda? I've even talked about like anytime I see a black lead, I'm like, oh god.
I mean, it was the main character too. Like he didn't develop.
I don't agree with that at all. He was a drunk when you met him, and he didn't have any purpose. And then he goes and gets like the Morning Star and kind of brings back the lineage of his family of these monster hunters and starts like saving the town. Like there's that great scene.
I think he started doing that in the beginning, and he kept doing it, and nothing, and then just got like more magical. And I guess maybe
no,
that's
because
where it
he
lost
had
me.
like purpose instead of just like defending himself. He went on the road with Sypha by the end of like after they destroyed Dracula, and they were like monster hunters for hire. So he got back on his journey. I mean, maybe it's not a satisfying arc, but it's an arc.
Yeah.
So
And
what
like
are some of the things that that particularly you like about it? I mean,
I was
if you were to
rewatching
sell
some of
that
it.
show to me, what would you say about it?
It's so much better written than it has any business being. Like the dialogue alone is so like there's some expository dialogue that's not incredible, but the back and forth between the characters is tremendous. Like there's a great scene where Alucard and Belmont are going back and forth, and Sypha's like, "Now you two don't be at each other's throats," and they're like, "Yeah," and she walks away, goes, "Eat and die." He goes, "Yes, fuck you," and then they just have a laugh about it, and it's such an authentic rapport, and was so funny and really charming, and I thought all the characterization and the voice acting and like the fabric of the show was just excellent, and it kicks ass. Like when the demons first are released from hell and they just start attacking everyone, and they're like got these razor wings and they just like slicing women's heads off and they're just dead, and they're like, whoa, this show is not fucking around. That's just
Sounds good to me.
Blast. Yeah,
The
I had an
animation I
absolute
thought
blast.
was pretty good, but I think I remember feeling that some of it was a little. I feel like the first season was tighter, and the second season was a little bit disjointed, as like a lot of worrying and going back and forth without. I don't know. It just didn't make as much sense to me.
It could be. I mean, I think there's that famous comic book writer who was over season one. Like that was like his thing. I don't know the guy's name, but you've heard of him. He's famous. And I think he was only involved in season one. So I think it could be that the writing was maybe not as tight season 2 and 3 because of that.
Could be.
I thought it was a straight shot. I mean, I really liked the arc. I liked the journey. I liked all the character development. I liked the politics, like with the vampire who wants to overthrow, Dracula, and like doesn't want to kill everybody and like kind of wants to subvert him. And then the black dude who's like a real like a zealot. I thought all those characters were so good. You got Godbrand, the Viking vampire. Fucking awesome. I
cool.
adore it. Yeah, adore it. Any other thoughts? You guys feel free to share them.
I'm kind of in between where you guys are, I think, on Castlevania. So I watched the first 2 seasons, and I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't something where I'm really overly crazy excited for the next season, which is why I didn't watch season 3. It was, I didn't dislike it, but it also wasn't like appointment television for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
I got a question. The only thing that struck me as odd about the writing in the first, and I've seen 3 episodes of season 1. That's what I've seen so far. And what struck me about Trevor Belmont, although he's a great character, I really enjoyed watching him, and he definitely takes over on screen for the second and third episodes and was great to follow. But he struck me as anachronistic. He sounds like a modern guy in his 20s to me, rather than somebody from the 15th century like some of the other characters do. And what I find interesting is, while it struck me as odd, I found it more amusing than troublesome. When he's like, can we please leave the testicles alone? And I burst out laughing.
That's funny.
It's a scene in the bar. It was hysterical. And I'm like, he doesn't sound like he's from there, but damn, he's funny.
It's funny. The writing, I think, is authentically funny. I get lots of good laughs out of that show.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I do know that they've got a really good voice acting cast, which always interests me. Playing a lot of games, the voice acting can make a big difference if they get some real quality. And they've got Peter Stormare.
Ace, I was talking about Warren Ellis. He was the one who lorded over season 1.
Yeah,
So that's
James
why.
Callis, Graham
So
McTavish. Got a few good
I mean,
dudes.
I really like season 1. I just can't even remember how much of season 2 I watched.
Oh, okay.
I
was
when
hooked.
got to it.
I was
I
because I didn't.
really liked it at first.
Yeah, I just didn't have any expectations. Like I saw it and I was like Castlevania. You know what I mean? Like the TV show. Like I don't know.
I thought of the Game Boy game.
Yeah.
Black and white. With the whip.
It was a game originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Nintendo and PlayStation and Symphony of the Night is the game I think of. That was a PlayStation 1 game. That was really cool.
I couldn't believe that they were doing this, and I was like,
Hey.
"Is there a story behind this?" But no, it's fun.
Well, that's something that they did pretty surprisingly well. Actually, the creators adhered to the lore as much as possible. Like
I was just gonna say is that one of the things that I always enjoyed about Castlevania as a game back in the day was, I mean, when you first play it, it's a side scroller and what have you. But despite even being on, old school NES, it still carried a story with it, and every single installment always did. And Trevor, I forget which game he's from, but he is from at least one of the Castlevania games.
I think he's the primary character that you follow.
Simon was the original.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Simon.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I grew up on the Sega Genesis version. That was the one that I played, and it was with the whip. And I think that's him, but now I'm not sure.
They've had multiple protagonists throughout the games. I think Simon may be one of the main ones, but I think Trevor is too. I think they both have been in the multiple games, honestly.
Dude, I only played the Game Boy one, so my character was like the tiny pixelated little guy. There's no story there. You go like this and hope there are no bats. And I think I only got to level 3, and I definitely didn't know that there was ever a lore. So they can turn anything into a great show. And I really do think season 1 is, for me it was the best, but it's definitely a good hook. And maybe I should give it a shot again. Maybe now is a better time.
There's some moments in that show where I was like, holy shit. Like in season 1, when the priest, like all the demons come for, I think it might be episode 1 or 2, but it's like when all the demons are finally released on the human race. And then the priest is in that church and these demons are coming for you. And he's just like, God hates you. God doesn't want you in the house. And he goes, God spits on you. He has no respect for you, or whatever he says, but we love you. And then give us a kiss. And then just eats the guy's head. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I love that. Just a kind of blasphemous, preacher just misleading people and abusing their power. And him just straight up telling you, no, God does not love you. And then we'll eat you. Like these demons are here for your soul. It's like, holy fuck. Like I thought it was epic.
Listen, Chad, God does love you. Just know that. Just know that. I guess that joke missed. I'm sorry. Totally missed.
What do you 24/7? Are you a fan?
Actually, I played the game a little bit, but I'm not really. I just got my Netflix, so I'm not really hip on a lot of stuff that's going on.
I thought it was pretty sick. I think it's a pretty good show. Seems like we're getting some mixed reactions, which is interesting, I'd say. I like that.
Well, I think you've told me enough about it to make me want to at least watch season 1. So, I'll give it a try, especially now that I see the voice cast. There's some really good people in there. So,
what's that guy's name? There's a Scotsman, I think, right?
Graham McTavish is the guy you're thinking of. Yeah, who's in Outlander or whatever it's called, that romantic Scottish thing.
Yeah. Well, he was also no, me neither. But he was also in The Hobbit. He was one of the dwarves in The Hobbit.
Yeah, I know he's a great actor. But yeah, Bill Nighy's in it apparently, and Matt Frewer, who was Max Headroom, of course, good Canadian guy.
Oh right, yeah.
James Callis, who's an excellent actor. So a good cast.
Yeah. I think it's a good show.
Worth it just for that reason, I think. So I'll report back later if I like it.
There you go.
If I don't, I blame you, Matt.
Sure, that's fine.
I mean, Matt, I would just want to say,
please.
I ordered the pizza at the lounge. I got to say, it's awesome.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Please leave a Yelp review.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you very much. I will pass this along.
So I will tell you a show that I did watch because you talked about it was the Love, Death and Robots, which so far I'm enjoying very much. I'm only a few episodes in, but I think it's pretty good. 12 minutes, obviously. Each one's a short, but
Yeah.
excellent show. Much better than I anticipated.
What did you guys watch? Or which one did you watch?
Well, certainly I watched the first two this morning, and I have to say, watching the second one, I'm much more convinced about the animated nudity. I think that could work.
Well, here's what's kind of interesting about that show. So it's a series of vignettes, right? But the order is not the same for everybody. So the first one for me is not necessarily the first one for you. So
Really?
I think I know. Yeah. Because I
did
remember
not know
talking
that.
with my friends when it came out, and I was like, dude, that definitely wasn't the first one. They're like, yes, it was. And everyone had like a different point of view. I was like, well, we can't all be
cool.
right.
So the Three Robots was the first one I watched. The Three Robots.
Oh, yeah. And like the apocalypse.
Yeah, touring post-apocalyptic Earth. The
I like that
second,
one.
That was a great one. Yeah, had a
The
fantastic
first-
twist at the end.
The first one in my series was the fighting monsters with the controllers, where it turns out that one fighting monster actually is the controller, is actually a sentient alien, and wins because she knows her life is at stake in every fight.
Yeah. So
And
that's
that was a great twist at the end.
So that's a spoiler alert. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it is.
I know. But
See,
it's
I can look
season
really-
1. It came out in 2019. Come on.
I can look really smart if I'm watching it with my wife and say, you know what? I think I know what's going to happen now.
See, there you go.
I'm just kidding, Richard. Just kidding. But the second one for me then was the one where they were thousands of light years off when they went through which is the one that had the nudity, which I thought was
The
quite
rift.
impressive.
Yeah.
So they don't watch so they genuinely are not in the same order.
No, because the first one I saw was the one that with the Spider Woman, like in the edge of the galaxy. That's the first one I saw.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of wild like that. There's like, okay, so I'd say I loved the ones I loved, and most of them are really good. But there's a few in there that are not terrific. Like there's like a few in there that are just kind of like, all right. But overall, I think the ideas are so much fun, and just kind of all the different visions are so interesting that it's a pretty rad series.
Yeah, I think they've made a good decision making it just, as you say, vignettes, making it 12 minutes, 15 minutes. A lot of anthology shows, if you even think back to the classics, Twilight Zone, there was always filler episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got to sit through a 40-minute filler episode, and you're I'll say normie, terrible word, then you're probably going to go, damn, I'm done with that. But if it's only 12 minutes, you might go, okay, I'll move on to the next one.
Yep.
And, I think they made a good decision there. The stories were not enough to flesh them out that long anyway, so that was good.
I thought
I
they
like
were-
observation, man. I hadn't considered that, but I see where you're coming from. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
If
good
it's
point.
40 minutes or an hour long and it's as many anthology shows, they have the ones we all remember that were great, then there's the other ones. That would put people off, I think. But
Yeah,
science fiction is
like-
an acquired taste.
I like the fact that with all of the different studios they farmed these productions out to, each short was done by a different studio. They all chose their own animation style. So beyond the Aquila Rift, on the edge of the galaxy there, that was a very, very photorealistic CGI, but there were some that were actually very cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun because you didn't know quite what you were going to get next.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you didn't like the animation of this one, the style of this one, you'd be like, yeah, but I don't have to worry about it because they're not going to use that in the next one.
Yeah.
And each one had like a different tone. Like the one with the three robots to me was kind of like a sort of like a sardonic Wall-E.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like a bleak humor, like a little more like black humor, but like still the same kind of idea of like adorable robots, like without people. I thought it was really cute the way it worked. But then you had like the one that was the Russian one with like the fucking hole to hell. I mean, that was there was no jokes there. That was all done for real.
Oh, those damn Russians.
That was rad. 70s Rock Fan. You haven't seen that one yet, but that one is badass.
No, I'm going to watch the rest tomorrow, I think, if I get time, yeah. Hey, it's only 12 minutes long. I can get, I can get
Right.
the whole season in one go.
No commitment.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. And at my age, time is critical.
Ascension Dildo, very, very much out of character. Ascension Dildo brings up a good point. He says,
He brings it up again and again and again, yeah.
he says filler episodes were acceptable when you had 24 episodes a season.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. I mean, that's
It
a good
is.
point. And also, we didn't have as many options, so it wasn't like if one episode's bad, you'll just turn it off and never turn it on again. Like if it's whatever one of those anthology shows, you'll come back. I mean, you'll come back because it's like it was TV. We just we had so few options.
But would
we
you
just-
watch the filler episode? Like for
Yeah,
example,
usually.
like I'm watching Stargate SG-1, and it came up to this episode where the main character gets turned into a younger version of himself. And I've seen that on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I was just like, nope, filler episode. Like, don't care. And the next
But
one
that's
also was a
now.
filler.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking back when you were watching it on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I skipped most of it when it was first on. I did, whatever my brother watched, I watched. So I didn't really know what I was missing.
I mean, I'll go back even like more recent history. Like there's the filler episode on Breaking Bad with the fly. And it's just a fly and he's just trying to catch a fly the whole time. Doesn't move the story. And it's annoying, but I watched it, and that was relatively recently. But that's because I was watching them on DVD.
Yeah.
Well,
Here's an interesting thing to think about, though, right? Because the majority of the television that we watch these days is aspiring to be, episodic, contained storytelling, and you've got the 10 episode season formula that's so common these days, right? And I mean, to your point, when you had 23, 24 episodes in a season, it's no big deal to have a few filler episodes here and there. But at the same time, when you really go back to those shows, they were largely serialized storytelling of the week anyway. So in a sense, each episode was filler, right? Because 90% of them didn't move any major storyline anywhere.
I don't think I watched those shows, though, with the exception of maybe The Simpsons.
Did you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Not as much as I watched Deep Space Nine.
Okay, and
Sure, there's
that's
examples in Deep Space Nine. There has to be.
Oh, there
There
are
are.
tons. And I can name them because I've skipped all of them when I got the DVDs. And it's only like after my 100th rewatch, I was like, maybe I'll watch the one where they play baseball against the Vulcans. Like,
I think the point is, I think that the grander point though is more when it was a first run, you watched it. You didn't just turn it off or skip it.
Right.
Like you didn't have anything else to do. You might not have loved that episode, but you would have sat through it.
Well, to the point where the length of the season, what have you, is important. I will admit that by the second or third season of The Mandalorian, I was watching the filler episodes and didn't turn it off and skip to the next one or wait for the next one because I was invested in the characters.
There's non-filler episodes in The Mandalorian? I didn't.
Especially season 2. That whole
Filler, no
season,
killer.
one big
Yeah.
thing.
Oh no! It's
Right.
foreshadowing.
Oh,
Maybe it deserves a rewatch because all I remember were useless side quests.
that's all
Yeah,
it is. It's
lots of
linked
side quests.
as the Mandalorian.
it really was. I mean, they did it well. Visually, it looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely wanted
So
to
did
know.
The Last Jedi. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
all I can say is, to me, the quest in The Mandalorian was two things: keep Grogu alive, and two, find a Jedi to hand him off to that could train him. So it didn't really matter where they went, as long as the Mandalorian was defending Grogu from whatever danger presented itself in that episode.
these
So I
are
was like-
absurd statements.
Oh,
Wait, I
okay.
just want to go back to the chat real quick because these are both super funny. Ace, Mr. Freeze. First of all, one, the Islington girl says, yes, DS9 are here. And I skipped those episodes, lol. But US Dutch Kitty says, I love the baseball episode.
Well, then you must love Rom. You know, the lovable idiot who's not an idiot, but he's a fucking idiot. And somehow he's like marrying the hottest woman on the show because fuck, that's Rick Berman, actually. That's exactly why. Yeah.
I have no
You
point.
sound
figured it out.
jealous. You sound jealous, Ace.
Are you kidding? When I heard it,
not.
when I
Shut
heard
up.
Matt say like useless side quest, I was like, story of my dating life.
And then he gets to meet the big boss. So.
He goes here to get the roses, then he goes there to get the chocolates.
Yeah. Well, like New Bomb Turk is saying, like, it was like you were watching a streamer play a video game. It's exactly what it was. And you don't get the satisfaction of accomplishing those quests yourself. You're just watching someone else do it. It was horrible. I mean, I noticed that almost from the beginning, and who knows what's going on. You know, this is kind of an older topic, but it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, you can do this right. Like there's episodes here that are done well, but then you're just wasting time. And it's like, I don't believe you can't construct a good season of television with like a beginning and an end and an arc and a journey, but they just, I don't know. They didn't pull it off as far as I'm concerned.
So I have a
Sorry, Vigilante, go ahead.
All right, I have a question for the panel as far as the difference between episodic and serialized television, because I feel like the past 20 years has been heavily episodic. Not that there wasn't episodic stuff before that. Oh, wait, episodic is all connected, right? I already get that fucking confused.
Yep.
Okay, because it's like the Mad Men, the Wire, the Sopranos, Breaking Bad. These type of shows kind of gave into the 10 to 15 seasons or 10 to 15 episodes a season, more episodic, connected stories, tighter stories. But before that, even something like Law and Order is not up to this level, but Law and Order is just random episode of the week. You guys talked about the Next Generation. I actually like the fact that it was serial, that just random episode of the week. So I didn't have to, it took less investment. You know what I mean? You could just jump on at any point. Yeah. Whereas the more episodic thing, you have to be invested. But do you guys think that it's hard to, because we are now so accustomed to episodic stuff that serialized television just doesn't work anymore?
Well,
or for you guys?
That's a good question. Here's what I would say in response to that. I'm curious to hear what the panel's take on it is. But when I go back and rewatch television, okay, the stuff that I rewatch was all serialized. Like I rewatch House once or twice a year, every season, man, start to finish. I loved that show. It was, medical problem of the week. You could skip 10 episodes and still know what the hell was going on. All you needed to know was House was a dick. Chase liked Chase and Tail. And, you just needed to know a little bit about the characters and you can watch the episode, no problem whatsoever. I mean, there's kind of an ongoing story-ish that they have slid in, but each episode stood on its own at the end of the day. And so that's one that I go back and rewatch all the time. I'm in the middle of rewatching Scrubs right now.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, okay. Dude, Scrubs is absolutely serialized, right? It's and so anything,
and it's hilarious. Honestly, kind of underrated.
Yeah, it's good. It's so funny.
Kind of classic. It's like, people always talk about like the classic comedy being like The Office or whatever, but like Scrubs is a masterpiece of comedy. Like it's so funny.
And so things that I go back and rewatch, it's always that type of TV show. It's never the long, drawn out, full season arc storytelling. I mean, maybe that's just me, but what about you guys? Stuff that you rewatch a lot.
You've got a great point there, because if you really just want to drop into something, then you watch, and you do it all the time when you maybe switch TV on. Say you're in a hotel, you see a show, Seinfeld, bang, I'll watch that episode. It doesn't have to have any relation to any of the others, but you still enjoy it. And that's drop-in television, but it's still well written.
Yeah.
doesn't. So you really have to have a commitment to watch an entire episodic season
Exactly.
again. That's a
Yeah, but
long
those are
commitment.
comedies. Both those examples are comedies.
X-Files.
That's
Almost
true.
okay.
I can think of one great example
right.
from The Sopranos that I think Vigilante mentions The Sopranos. The episode where the Russian guy, they were taking the Russian guy out into the forest to kill him, and he escaped.
Yeah.
There was no arc in that episode whatsoever, but it was brilliant.
You know what's
could watch-
interesting about The Sopranos, because that is the first,
Christopher,
arguably the first serial, like one single story, one of the first ever. When the first two seasons, really, each episode is actually written like a serialized show, like a self-contained story. There's an overall story going over the entire season, but each episode actually begins a story and then ends it at like a little sub story, like where what was the hot one who ends up getting murdered by Tony in the end?
Adriana.
Like,
sorry, yeah.
When she wants to get in the music industry, like that is introduced and resolved in one episode. And they did that a lot because that was before on demand. So you had to be able to still grip an audience who hadn't seen every single episode. And it's a pretty interesting kind of cultural artifact because it's sort of both, and no shows are both like that. And the other thing, Jake, I was going to say to your point, put it like the just putting it on thing, like why, like where the rise of it came from. I mean, it's all the on-demand stuff. It's all the fact that it's streaming and the fact that you can go back and start the story over and then catch up with whatever episode is out this week. So I think that has a lot to do with why that isn't the same.
So I have a bit of a different take in that I never really liked any of those shows, whether it was Seinfeld or Friends or Scrubs or House. None of that really ever did it for me, and it's because there was nowhere to go. Is there an echo for you guys?
I don't hear any.
Little bit.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. Well, I always enjoyed more, like especially like late 90s, early 2000s, of just turning on one of those channels that had movies. And it didn't matter if it was the middle of the movie or close to the end. Like I liked that I could just get into this bigger story that I found more engaging and more entertaining. And like nowadays, you can put me anywhere in the 12 or 15 hours of a Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I'll watch it. And I've always enjoyed where writers can go when they have that time and space. And I mean, it's definitely a matter of taste. And I think also I'm a bit of a nonconformist when it comes to pop culture. So when everyone's watching Friends, I'm like, this is stupid. So like, I don't know.
I'm a contrarian.
I'm not a big fan of Friends either. So you're okay there.
I think
I'm
I've
a
watched
natural
two or
contrarian,
three
too.
episodes of Friends tops.
Friends is fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
Friends
with you,
is
Ace.
funny. You mentioned
Wait, but hold on before
Yeah.
we keep going, because I do want to hear your take. But we have someone sitting backstage. You know him, you love him. Hello, Comics Division.
Most people hate me.
Hey, Comics
Division.
I don't
You're in the
think
right
people hate
club.
you.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey.
What's up?
Cheers.
There's that
Comics.
70s rock fan. How you
Cheers,
doing?
my friend.
How are you doing?
So we were just discussing the difference between like serialized and episodic television, and is there a future for, I'm not even sure which is the right term, but the one where it's just a self-contained episode. Can that be a thing, and what's your preference, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and
Honestly, I think it would depend on the show, but you're already middle talking, so go ahead, dude.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, man.
That's all right.
Yeah, so basically, like where like you can go into like big long stories, where you like, and when you get to the show like The Office, where like you talk about like what can do like the balance. I think they had a bunch of self-contained episodes that were a little bit drama, a little bit comedy, but even there, like by season 5, you're getting a guy like me who's just like, like you haven't driven home to where the characters need to go, where the story needs to go, and you lose me. Same as Walking Dead around that time. Even Dexter, I didn't finish, and I got like 6 seasons in. I was, am I gonna watch the last season? No, because you just couldn't get there in time. So I think there's an audience that's going to be like that. But given the popularity of all those shows, like I don't think it's dead.
Real quick, Sentient Dildo says he personally is very disappointed in Foul Ball Productions producing nothing but filler episodes. Unsubscribe.
Need more canon.
Well, Sentient Dildo is an expert on filling. We know this.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
I get
Essentially, he is filler.
yeah.
Indeed.
Yes.
Now
so
forcibly
comics.
resubscribing him.
We're stuck with them. So comics, what say you, my friend?
Okay, I honestly I think it depends on the type of TV show, whether it should be serialized or episodic. I mean, perfect example of this is like Next Gen, right? I mean, it's basically episodic. What does it have a future? I think if it should. Those two formats should absolutely have a future. Unfortunately, it seems like when we get things like WandaVision or Falcon, they're not TV shows, right? They're one long movie that's cut up into parts. And part of the thing is with the TV format is you basically each episode should have the 3-act structure, and they don't have those things. And those structures exist for a reason. And a lot of it is because you have to have a conclusion of some kind at the end. Now, even I would say kind of serialized episodes do as well. Even though it's kind of moving the larger plot, further along each episode, there's still something that goes on, and it does have those very kind of familiar beats. That's where I think like Marvel, it kind of falls apart, or Disney, I should say, is falling apart. They're basically, these are tried and true ways of storytelling, but they're not doing it. And so there is no, it's not satisfying to watch, in my opinion. You're kind of, it's why I complain about a lot of these things, is because it's like, well, who is this person? Oh, maybe they'll explain it later. Well, in a movie, that's fine. If you get introduced into a character and they don't tell you a whole lot about that character right away, it should be, told by the time the movie concludes. But when you have a TV series that like 6 episodes, they're 45 minutes, and you're introduced to this character, you know nothing about them, and you're like, what's the point?
Are you saying that you expect a television program to tell 2 different story arcs in the same episode? Who do you think these writers are? Shakespeare?
Yeah.
I don't know what my expectations anymore. I think my expectations are garbage at this point. This is basically what we're going to be getting.
I expect garbage too.
I think an example, and it's unfortunately, I mean, comedy manages to pull off the not complete story arc, episode to episode. I guess maybe because there's jokes, so you can stay engaged. But like Rick and Morty, for the most part, doesn't have any kind of bigger stories. There's like 1 or 2 that kind of touch on like every 5th episode or something like that. But for the most part, they're just self-contained
episodic.
Yeah, that don't have anything to do.
Even the Boys, is abysmal as that that show is, does it way better when it comes to kind of linear storytelling or serialized storytelling. Because you have a story that you're telling within that episode, but at the same time it's moving the larger plot along. As compared to like Marvel. I mean, the series itself is still garbage, but at least they did a better job at storytelling.
In the case of Disney, what they're doing, and I'm sorry to cut you off too far, but what they're trying to do is like fake a series. That's what they did with The Mandalorian.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Winter Soldier and WandaVision, where they have an hour of content, an hour of story, and somehow stretch it out into a season. And they use all sorts of like padding tricks. So it's not even.
Well, I don't think they got those padding tricks from Netflix, because that was like the biggest problems with those Marvel Netflix series, is that it's like you guys really could have cut this down into maybe like 6-8 episodes. But they would have like 12, and there was a lot of filler and a lot of padding. I mean, granted, it was better storytelling altogether, but it was really a lot of unnecessary storytelling. But yeah, you're right, dude. It's like they've taken a 2-hour movie and stretched it out into
2 hours, like 90 minutes, hour.
Yeah, 6 to 10 episodes or 8. I don't know. I mean, it's like whatever.
Well, that might be because the model is Marvel. You know, those movies make money and they're long, so maybe they just think longer means more money. You know, I wouldn't put it past Hollywood, because from when I spending my time in there, it was just follow the models that worked, and that was how everyone in town operated. So it wouldn't shock me.
Well,
consumer
the
product.
thing,
They're pushing a product.
Yeah. Well, and I've always said that, in my opinion, comic books are best served on television, because you can tell, self-contained stories. But if you want to have something that runs longer, you have the ability to do that. You could tell a meta plot over 12 to 24 episodes, right? You can have, it can be episodic as well, depending on what you're trying to do. As long as you understand that, it's pushing the ball forward to whatever they're kind of working towards. But you could definitely do the, episodic format just with a meta plot in the background. I mean, they did that. If you ever seen the movie, the TV series Brimstone was really good for the most part. They're self-contained episodes. It's episodic, but there's a meta plot in the background that you are kind of moving towards, and they did kind of build on top of each other. But overall, I mean, if you missed an episode, you weren't terribly confused.
Well, that's sort of that's the reason why that model exists, is because you could just turn it on when you were at home and you're like, what is this show? And you didn't have to know everything that came before to be interested in this one episode. And that's how they would build an audience back then, because they didn't have the same, you didn't have the same access. I just wonder, are there enough audience members that are interested in kind of an old school format where it's just self-contained stories with the same characters?
Yeah, I think there's definitely an audience for it.
Yeah, but something I just thought of, that's harder to do in a way, especially for these writers.
It's hard because it takes talent, right?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is
it all does.
But that's Vigilante's got the right point. Either of these can be done. You can have serialized, you can have episodic. If the writing is good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so here's the
absolutely.
Thing that's having
the key to everything.
If you have a linear story or whatever, because I got confused on which is which, but if you have a everything connects to everything, beginning, middle, end, one season tells one story. You can rely on cliffhangers. I remember 24 was the king of cliffhangers and using kind of shock value, this shocking moment to kind of make up for not being a good writer.
Yeah, the problem with that is it gets old after a while.
It does.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. How many times did Jack have to secretly get into the Chinese embassy against the law?
Yeah,
like 6 times.
You ever watch Alias? Alias was a perfect example of that, and that show was overly formulaic. I mean, it was terrible.
Well, it's sort of like
Blacklist
music.
Puts me in mind of this too.
What was most fascinating about 24 was the way that Jack Bauer's daughter lost more and more of her clothing every episode.
Yeah,
she
was pretty.
You don't sound like you're complaining about that.
I'm not. I'm just saying every episode another rip, another tear, it's like Sigourney Weaver in Galaxy Quest.
Well, actually, when it comes to all that, it really has to do episodic TV, more or less. Comedies can pull it off better than anything. When it comes to a show that's serious, people want to see something that connects. Now, the thing is that seasons have been shut down. I remember there used to be 30-something episodes. Then it went down to 24. Then it went down to 12. Now we're looking at 6 to 8. I mean, TV has went to shit. And the quality that comes from it has been completely it's kind of like when you start seeing how vitamins are done. It's like when vitamins first came out, of course you got vitamins full. Now you get vitamins that have full of fillers. And you only get so much of the actual nutrients out the vitamin. Same thing with television. And
I kind of agree with you, disagree at the same time. As long as there's no filler, I'm fine with 6 episodes. Just make them all quality episodes. That's like one of the biggest problems. Like if you take a look at a show like Friends, like you were talking about previously, if you're going with 24 episodes, you have to come up with 24 episodes, 24 stories, and obviously sometimes that's going to be filler, and sometimes I think these shows could definitely benefit from streamlining if they're done right. The issue is they're not being done right. I'm cool with a 12 episode season if it's not filler. Because if you 2 filler episodes, well, that's what, then you have 10 episodes of story. If you do 4 episodes, it's what, 8 at that point? I mean, it's like, come on. It's like, they don't plan these things. That's the thing that sucks about it. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's a combination of things. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in about, because we're talking about the quality and why the quality doesn't, like you're pointing out, Fusion, that it's like it's going down and down, and the quality is going down with it. And I think a lot of that is
the quality's
really
going down because they're hiring hack writers. That's why.
Right. Yeah,
I think it's I think it's also just the culture in Hollywood. And I heard Cameron Pasha talk about it on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Hello, by the way. Hail. What's up, Tom? But I was like, that's exactly what it is. There's this entitlement to this kind of old guard of their way of life, their cocktail parties and their friend groups and all their access and being treated like gods and all this. Like, there's an entitlement to that. But what they've done is like completely lost touch with the actual craft that they are partaking in. So now they are scrambling and kind of just throwing shit against the wall. But then they've put back themselves into this corner where they can't go outside of the circle of allowable content. So it just kind of keeps getting more and more narrow, and they're lashing out. And it really, to me, is a reflection of just a degraded culture of creatives. I've been in Hollywood firsthand. I absolutely know that there is a wealth of talent, writers, actors, the whole thing. That isn't the issue. The issue is the to me, in my opinion, the corruption of the culture there that has just destroyed any ability to make good things.
Yeah, and another really good example of like a linear storytelling is the series Hannibal, which is fantastic. And unfortunately, it's like that's a show that I don't think could be made today because it's too triggering and problematic.
Yeah,
which is ironic because it's not that old, is it? I mean,
no, it's what, like
old.
4 years old at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I think it all comes back to the writing. I mean, you look at a show like in the old days and the Avengers, and I mean the British TV show, not Marvel. Yeah. They made about 30, 40 of those a season. But virtually all of them were good. Now, they didn't always connect. It was usually a story of the week. But, and you'd have 20 minutes of Steed and Daenerys flirting. But it was wonderful because the writing was good. The people that made it believed in what they were doing. The actors were into it. It was a different level of quality. It didn't mean it was serious or artistic or meaningful or weighty, but it was fun.
Yeah,
and they made some fantastic television, and yet they made 30 or 40 of those a season.
Well, the other thing too, I think which would be, in my opinion, the next kind of evolution is doing, semi-linear storytelling where it's episodic, but maybe you have a story arc that goes over 2 or 3 episodes rather than just one. Because I mean, that's like the problem with a TV show like House is that as much as the show is good, it's overly formulaic. There's a problem. And it's resolved by the end of the episode. And
not only that, it was the same like path. They have this crazy disease that no one understands. They try everything, and the house is the only one who knows, and no one believes them, and then figures it out. And it was the same thing every episode.
Yeah. And that's a perfectly good example of it being overly formulaic. Where with TNG, I mean, you kind of had like I love the fact that was a Mike and Jay of Red Letter Media kind of broke it down. You have like 3 or 4 kind of like episode types that you'd have, and you'd kind of like mix them up a bit. And so it wasn't like the same formula. It was still formulaic, but they did a better job of hiding it between episodes because they would kind of rotate these things out. And it was
also new, and so now when like I'm watching again I'm watching Stargate. And so it gets to a certain episode and it's like, okay, so the enemy now has their new super troops, Jesus. And so it's sort of like a Terminator in that it just keeps coming. And I'm like, okay, this is a Terminator episode. And I get to choose whether or not I want to watch it, but I know what it is because, it's now 20 years since Terminator came out, 30 years since, so,
And I think the other issue too is that a lot of TV shows go a lot longer than they probably should.
Yes, they do, and that's why they end up becoming more and more hysterical in their episodes. House is a great example. It became
Frozen.
It's like MI6 took out.
problem. Yeah, I mean, everything had to be the biggest problem ever or the weirdest problem ever, and they always have to outdo themselves.
Yeah,
they don't know when to stop.
That's a problem with modern entertainment is the one-upsmanship of like when it comes to like movies and sequels, and it's like everything has to be bigger, better than the previous movie, and it's like, dude, no, just tell a story. It doesn't need to be. You don't have to keep escalating the stakes to the point where it's just absolutely ridiculous, and that's kind of the problem with movies, especially the ones that are really kind of like rely on the epic storytelling. Not everything needs to be epic; it could be a simple story.
Well, that's what's so good about Dark for me, that it was 3 seasons and it has a logical ending.
Yeah, that 5 was like 5.
A lot of shows like.
You want to talk about a show that didn't last longer than it should have, and that 70s rock fan, I bet you know this one because you're familiar with the Avengers. Patrick McGowan's The Prisoner. One season, 17 episodes, and I would have said that was all self-contained stories until I watched Az and Robert Meyer Burnett about a year ago doing their series of videos on The Prisoner, and they negotiated at the end of each of their videos what would be the next episode to watch, and they had reasons why. That shouldn't be the next episode, even though it was broadcast next. That's in the wrong order. You should have this episode next. So they'd say, okay, let's watch this episode next.
That's
and I realized
broadcast television, though.
But what I realized was that there was an overarching story going through the 17 episodes. It was so subtle, it's not obvious, but they would make the case, this episode was broadcast 4th or 3rd or 2nd, but The Prisoner obviously knows the ins and outs of the village far too well for this to be that early. So that should be way back around episode 7 or 8. And that is a long-term story.
I'm lucky that I grew up with that show.
A lot of TV shows are actually aired out of order, which is really annoying. Keen Eddie is a perfectly good example of this. When Fox aired them, they aired them out of order, and it sucks because it really messes with the continuity of the story.
They did it with Firefly too. They aired Firefly out of order. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Can I just pause the conversation real quick because the panel grows, and joining us is Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark. Hello, Tom.
I didn't do it.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hello, Tom.
Hey, it's Valiant Williamson. Yeah, Valiant. I don't know if you guys. Yeah. Shout out to Valiant Renegade, who always apparently gets mixed up. It's not just you. Gary has mixed them up with me as well. So,
that's sad. Who's Valiant Renegade? Does he have a channel?
Yeah, he has a channel that's growing fast. Everybody's channel is growing way faster than mine did. He already has like 300 subs.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah, shout out to Valiant Renegade.
Maybe they're all just people who think they're subbing to you, but they just accidentally like it's off-brand. It's like this is the same thing as Tricks.
No, he's pretty good. He's actually been on Midnight's Edge. So shout out to Valiant Renegade. Or Midnight's Edge After Dark, I should say.
I wanted to offer you guys a parable of something that happened to me in LA that I think is a really good metaphor for what I'm trying to get across. So I was working this party, and there was these rich dudes, and I forgot what they did, but they had their own brand of tequila. It was called Haha. It was like Jaja, and we're serving it to all their guests or whatever. And I was trying it. It was like, okay. And I was asking the guy, we were just talking about it. He was like, yeah, we don't love it. We're trying to get it to this place. I was like, oh, well, what would you do? Would you just like select like better pinas, or like, how would you help with the distillation process? I was like trying to get into the nuts and bolts of how you'd make it better. And he goes, I don't know. We just give them Casamigos and say we want it to taste like that. And I was like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. You just have a tequila brand.
Basically, yeah.
And I think that's like a perfect metaphor for like the people in Hollywood. It's like they don't really know how to make a good thing. They just know they want it to work like that. And I don't know, make it work.
I mean, that's the issue that we're facing is like nobody wants to take risks anymore. And I know that Tom talks about this a lot, but it's true. It's like they want something safe that they know they can make money off, and that's the reason why they want everything to be a franchise. They tried it with the Universal Monsters, and thank God that failed because that Mummy movie just looked terrible. Fortunately, I never watched it, but it's like they're trying to do that with Mortal Kombat, as Tom has pointed out as well.
Yeah.
And what else are they trying to do that with, Tom?
Amazon's trying to do this with Tom Clancy right now. Any of you guys see Without Remorse released today on Amazon?
No.
I mean, I don't know if I'd consider Mortal Kombat in there because I mean, I didn't think that one was real woke or anything like that. But like,
It wasn't.
And it's been a long time since we've had anything.
Oh, I didn't say it was woke. I just think they're just trying to do like a cinematic universe around.
Oh yeah, well that part of it's very true. Yeah, like I mean, well that's what they want nowadays. It's just the movie star's dead. It's all about the franchise. It's all about the IP.
Yep.
Yeah, it's and in that they use that as the generally the platform. So yeah, as far as
I watched this
I have a hot
platform.
take. I think the franchise is dead too. I think Endgame killed it. I don't think. I don't see because here's the issue with Mortal Kombat. It was such there was a lot of issues with Mortal Kombat, even though it was still fun. It was an obvious franchise setup. It was an obvious Iron Man 2 thing. But like I don't think they have the ability to do Marvel. The MCU was like a one-time thing. This is almost like the NBA where everybody's trying to be the Golden State Warriors and you end up with a bunch of people who can't shoot threes, shooting threes and just being off brand. It's like, no, what they did was a unique thing that probably could never be done. Hollywood has no Hollywood doesn't have the next thing. They don't have the next thing. They're just throwing stuff at a wall that sticks.
And it was so goddamn funny on FNT tonight where they were just talking about like you have all this evidence of what the fans want and they're just like how do we make this work? There's no way for us to know. Like we got to go divine tea leaves. It's like no, literally you have thousands of people, tens of thousands of people telling you make this product and they will buy it. And they're like there's just no answers. I don't know what to do.
We can't hear you.
Because they have to push the message. That's the reason why.
That's it. So I do think it's ego too, though. I think they think they're above fans and they don't want to take their cues from the fucking peasants. Ugh.
Yeah.
We dictate culture.
That sounds like Kathleen Kennedy's infamous statement. There's no source material.
She's talking about her brain there, yeah.
No, the thing she's leaving out, she's completely aware. There's no source material that we want to use or actually have to do.
That's my point. That they don't want to hear
source material.
They know that they know the fans will tell them what they want, and that if they make what the fans want, they'll make money. They just don't want to hear what the fans, and like Kathleen Kennedy didn't want to look at all of the source material that existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big part of it. And it's they don't want to adhere to it. They don't want to have to do the work.
And she wants to be the credit. She wants to have the credit for telling the story and making all the moves without ever really putting in the work of developing a storytelling.
I hate to break it to you, but that's every producer in Hollywood.
No, it is 100%.
A lot of them are better than her,
it's every executive. It's every executive. They all just want to get their fingers in there and make the choices and the changes and.
Like Walter Hamada is a great example because he's running around right now. Rumor has it that he's using the Joker as the reason why they should just, ignore all this other stuff and go with what he wants to do. And he had very little to do with the Joker.
Of course.
He was there though. He was the guy there, but playing musical chairs. He was the one in the chair.
Here's the funny thing is 30 years ago, his ass would have been fired over the Joker. You want to know why? Because they would have been like, first of all, why didn't you do this sooner? Second of all, they made a shit deal with the Joker. They didn't get hardly anything on that.
Wow.
Out of that $1 billion that movie made, there's a bunch of the production companies and shit that got behind the movie because Warner Brothers didn't get behind it. So you have all these other producers and production companies that made most of the bank off that movie. So like any other time in Hollywood, he'd have been shit canned. That's why Alan Ladd Jr. got fired from 20th Century Fox because he made such a shit deal that when Empire Strikes Back came along, they blamed him, even though Fox was the ones that didn't want to make the fucking movie in the first place.
Well, there's always pass the buck.
Well, that's the thing. That's just Hollywood in general. It's just the way it works. But again, like I said, Hamada would have been somebody who would have been shit canned 30, 40 years ago. But there's just certain things in his favor. He's got, the woke mob behind him. He's getting behind the woke DC universe. and all that kind of stuff. So he's protected. On top of obviously, stop Asian hate and all that crap.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So I just noticed that you have Love, Death, and Robots season 2 in your title. I had no idea they're even doing a second season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually thought the season 1 was pretty good.
Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for season 2 for over a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been about 2 years, and they released this a trailer, I guess maybe 2 weeks ago. Netflix did.
Yeah,
and it looks pretty good, dude. I thought it looked sick. Do you want to watch it?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I just remember people got triggered over that series. Oh God, yeah.
What did?
Oh, now
what
that's one
triggered
more
people?
reason to like it.
That one episode where they had the chick that was the fighter. When they were doing like the fighting monsters.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact that that was the one that triggered them.
Why? I thought that was relatively woke. Why did that bother people?
Not woke enough. I didn't see
there's like several things in there that one was on the list, and because I guess they didn't like the way they handled the drape of the character, and stuff like that. And there's some other stuff too that people are kind of all kinds of like freaked out about. But it was a good series.
I had this thought the other day, and I was like, I think that kind of makes sense. So it's like, how there's like they're the wokies, they're nudges, they're in everybody's business, and they always have to tell everybody what to do and how to think, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you guys never noticed that, but it does happen. But I was thinking about that because I was thinking about it, and it was like, I think part of the reason why there's such a pain in the ass is because they adhere to these rules, and they live by these rules and their law, and it's their Bible. But when they see other people not adhering to the rules, not only are they triggered, I think they're kind of like, wait, if I'm adhering to the rules, you have to too. It's kind of like, it's like when the pandemic was going on, and like people weren't wearing masks and they were going out and partying, and it was like, wait, but if I have to do this, and you should have to do this. I think it's a lot of that as much as it is policing culture.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I'm going to make all these restrictions and believe a bunch of shit that the government tells me, you better do it too.
Right. Yeah, I think that's part of the woke thing too. I think they're just like they're adhering to all these restrictive rules out of respect and whatever it is. And I think they see it in others not doing it, and they're almost just like,
well, it's
jealous.
Funny because they're changing the rules all the time. You see, like it was funny because Carrie posted this thing the other day where people are talking about, I don't think we should say wild or bananas anymore.
I heard that.
And it's just like, are you serious?
Wow.
Who said this?
Why? Just some people on Twitter.
Because they're actually really racist. That's my theory, and they do nothing to prove me wrong. They're so racist that they can only think of the most racist thing, and so they're always like, "Yeah, don't do this because black people are all like monkeys, so you don't want to just make them banana."
Well, I think it's more of the mental health thing, like wild. It's funny because like that.
What about banana though?
Bananas is crazy. You're bananas, man.
Goodness.
But it could be a black thing too. Yeah, play the trailer. I want to see this.
Yeah, let's go trailer. That's much more positive.
I mean, vigilante. Either way, I'm sure the logic is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my hand. You feel something, don't you?
Wow. It's like a kind of door opens up out there. I figure it leads to some other world, trapped inside our own.
Why give all this up? Why? I've been alive 218 years. I've seen too much. It's just what I wanted.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Another thing too, that another one of my favorite episodes from that series, season 1, was the story about the black woman who's the pilot of the drop ship.
Oh yeah,
that was really good story.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
Lucky 13.
Yeah, Lucky 13. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. That was such a good story.
That's a
Dude,
great one.
I thought that trailer looked sick. Like I thought the sense of humor was really good when they're like, from the award-winning animated series, and they go a shit. Like that's funny. Like
Yes, that was
like
perfect timing.
Yeah,
I want to go back to the comics divisions with the Lucky 13. You know, if you think about it, how many sentient machine stories?
Sentient, for crying out loud. Just another red shirt's pronounced.
How many sentient dildos have we got in the chat? That's what I want to know.
There's no CH in it.
It's sentient. It's I don't tell you.
All right. I
sentient.
corrected. How many sentient machine stories? Shut up. How many of these stories have you heard where the machine is benevolent? Think about it.
True.
I mean, come on. I know of a Spider Robinson story where
No, it never happened. I wrote a screenplay where that's the exact concept because it was annoying how often that's never the case. They're always evil. It's like, what if they, what if they were like
bicentennial man?
Yeah, that's a good one. But I like it because it's a touching story about a girl in a dropship.
A girl at her dropship.
or a girl in her spaceship. Oh no, it was
dropship would be better. Yeah. Like Starship Troopers.
I think Jake D wants to get out of here. I think he's had a long day. He's gonna peace out.
It's been a long week, even by God. But
you're gonna have to explain to me something before you go. Why your quarter ends a month late?
Fiscal quarters. So a company has it offset by this is
by a month.
Yeah, this was the end of our first quarter of fiscal year 2022. So go figure that. We're off by a lot.
Hey, Jake,
are you on?
I spent years in corporations. I know exactly what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
My company's fiscal year ends in September, and the new one starts in October. So again, go figure. There are very few that end on a calendar year basis.
Yeah, I remember one company I worked for. Their fiscal year began in July for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I know why software companies never use the calendar year as a fiscal year, because in software, the end of the year, you have Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and it is dead.
Yep.
And they don't want the end of every fiscal year to be
Right.
on the chart.
That's like the way
sense.
they adjust women's dress sizes over the years, so women still feel skinny, even though they're like
right.
Hey, never mind women's dress sizes, men's t-shirts too.
That's true. That's true.
Why is my extra large a medium?
That's right. I'm now in the XXL.
Well, Jake, it was a pleasure streaming with you, sir, as always.
Absolutely.
And if you guys, if you haven't, make sure you sub to Jake D. Guy's always putting out videos. Got his weekly show, Howling About Entertainment.
Yeah, I think I'll get a review on Without Remorse out tomorrow because I'm pissed at that movie. If you guys are Clancy fans, it'll just grate you just horribly, awfully the wrong way. And I got to get my feelings out.
Get them out. Get them out for the world. Make sure you keep an eye out for that. And thanks for hanging out with us, Jakub.
All right. Have a good evening. We'll catch you all later.
Take care, Jake D.
Take it easy, man.
Bye.
All right, Jack.
Laters, dude.
That's a sporting reference.
Comics, going back to season 2 of Love, Death, and Robots. So I did a little research on this the other day, and it turns out, and I didn't realize this, that Love, Death 1 was a single creator's vision, or at least single writer. And then he sent however many 13 scripts or whatever to different animation houses to adapt the story in their own image, which I was like, oh, that's a really cool concept. And I think they're doing it again with this season with a woman who she's got a weird pedigree. She did like Kung Fu Panda, I think like 2 and 3. But additionally, she did storyboards on Todd McFarlane's Spawn show on HBO.
Oh, that was such a good show.
Yeah, actually, I got that whole run sitting right here in front of me.
Yeah,
Right
that's a
on.
fantastic one.
That's
actually
actually
another episode that had a problem with was that one where it was like the cyclical story where it starts off.
Oh yeah, I didn't
the
like that
woman's
one either.
running away from the guy, and then
Yeah.
they each kind of like murder each other through the iterations. That was another one that they had a problem with.
Well, I had a problem with it too because it didn't make any fucking
Sounds
sense.
good,
No, I thought it made sense. You don't have any imagination, Matt. No, I'm kidding.
It didn't like.
Tell you
it
what
was-
I like about it. I'm an old school science fiction fan. Now, everybody now is very much comics, action heroes, super, people with superpowers. I'm an old school sci-fi fan, so when I see stories like that, that gets me. I go, yeah, I like that. That's got a spaceship thousands of light years from home.
Yeah.
What's going on
I
here?
love
That
that
appeals
shit.
to me. I'm sci-fi.
Have
I
you
I love
love it.
comics.
the one. I agree. The one with the man and the woman murdering each other was an intriguing sort of time loop story.
Yeah, kind of.
I love
Yeah,
that.
if they established why there was a time loop, which they didn't do.
No, if you're in one, you don't know how you
don't
got
know.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but we are it's not really happening. It's not a documentary. Give me a reason as to why, how this is possible. I mean, look, a great example of a time loop is 12 Monkeys. It's brilliant. It's like a fascinating beginning and ending. It works. But it, I understand how it's possible. Why were these
2 hours to establish that? What that was like a 10-minute short. You don't have enough time to really kind of establish.
It's
why
a short
happening.
story.
Yeah.
I mean, look at a
You don't need
Hemingway
that.
short story. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. It has a middle, and there's
So
a
you've
point,
opened-
and that's it.
Yeah, you've opened Pandora's box there, so to speak, because in a time paradox, what is the entry point from the outside perspective to the story? And you could pick anywhere in that circle. With 12 minutes, as Rachel said, you've only got 12 minutes to establish that.
But I agree
That's
with
hard.
I agree with Matt on that. Even if you have 12 minutes, it's like the TV show Dark has a time paradox, and it doesn't exactly explain the time paradox right away. It takes them basically until the end of the first season. But you're given, here's how you access the paradox. Here's here's how it works in the 33 forward, 33 back. Like you gotta keep the story moving. And it's sort of like the serialized versus episodic.
Wait a minute. Here's another
did it well.
Here's another explanation, though, for that very episode that isn't science fiction and isn't a time loop. It's hell, and that's their hell.
Yeah.
And
But you
it
gotta
doesn't
say
have
that.
a beginning or an end because it's forever.
But
Stephen
like,
King
that
wrote a
was in,
story like that, a short story just like that.
That was in American Horror Story, the one with the witches, where you can go into this dream world, but if you don't leave in time, you get trapped. And this one witch gets trapped in her nightmare, and it's just it's like in a classroom, but it's basically just she's getting yelled at and the bell rings, and she's getting yelled at and the bell rings over and over again. But you know why it's happening, and if you don't know
That's
why,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah,
It's
you're just
the
stuck
fact
in the
that
human centipede without knowing why.
right.
Get in,
It's
shit
out.
out.
But it is that. It's like the fact that I don't know why she's in this situation just makes me kind of be like, okay, so they'll pay this off at the end, right? And then they never did. And I'm like,
Okay, yeah.
okay.
I must
mean,
admit, my latest video on my channel is about time. I'm just kidding. It's about a time travel.
Go ahead and
novel,
plug.
So I will shamelessly
not
plug
in.
myself. But,
Go for it.
So
no, I was just saying about
I do have a
so,
quick question for you, that 70s rock fan.
Yeah.
Have you read A Canticle for Leibowitz?
No, I don't think I have actually.
Okay, it's not a time travel, but it's a science fiction story where basically it jumps every 500 something odd years or so because it's just following artifacts, and as artifacts get uncovered and reburied, the story
No,
of it
but
continues.
It's my kind of stuff. So
it's
say that
classic
again?
sci-fi. Canticle for Leibowitz.
Oh, I know. I know the book. Yeah, no, it's possible I read it a long time ago, but I don't
It's an
recall
old
it.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am getting on a bit, but but time travel is my things, particularly. So my latest video was about Robert Silverberg's Up the Line, which is about time travel tourism and the paradoxes that introduces. And yeah. So it's all about the perspective. Are you the guy that's in the time travel? Are you the guy watching from the outside? Or where do you enter? And Predestination, the movie Predestination, did it very well, I think.
Did it okay?
There is
It got a little weird. It got a little strange. It's like, okay, but how did his biology change to give birth to a like that? That was a little trans people kind of thing. I was like, I don't know.
It depends how onanistic you are and whether you find yourself attractive or not. But
but I don't give a fuck if I think I'm the hottest piece of ass on the planet. I don't have ovaries. It doesn't matter. It's just I can't give birth to a human.
But they got out of that one by saying it was a true hermaphrodite.
Oh, that's right. They did.
They had all the organs.
The true one.
They just had to pick. But the good thing about that is, for leaving that aside, was that it was a completely closed time loop. So the paradox is, where does that come from? I mean, where's the beginning of that closed time loop? There is no beginning.
Right.
It's been going forever then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that blows my mind. That kind of story blows my mind.
I think Rick and Morty actually does time travel best, where they're like, here's our time travel box. We don't do it because it doesn't fucking work. And then there's like one episode in the second season, and they're like, motherfucker, don't mess with time.
If they did, how would they know they didn't? This is the thing. If they did do it, how would they know they hadn't done it?
I mean, but that's exactly the point. For having fun, it's just a little like, and I mean, like that's why Endgame is ruined Marvel, because you're introducing time travel into a story that has consequences.
Yeah.
Whereas like Dark did it really well, because it truly answered that no, the people in the time loop do not matter.
Yeah. Now time travel is now the Deus Ex Machina of whatever story you need it to be. You know what? We don't know how to get out of this. Time travel.
Real quick, I just take this moment to acknowledge that 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, hail my good man, gave me a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying dropping by for my stream to give you the dough. Ha ha. Hails panel and chat. Hail Nick Weiser.
And we have to get the obligatory 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser.
Yeah.
Hail Flava Flav.
Hail Flava Flav. I hung out with Flav Flav in Vegas. That's where I met the man in the flesh. I imagine he'll be coming out. Comics. Tom, are you guys planning on going to Vegas in August?
I'm hoping to, if I can afford it.
I'm planning on it. It all depends on travel arrangements and things.
When in August?
Right, life.
Yeah.
12?
Well, it will determine whether I drive or fly.
Oh, okay. From San Antonio?
I'll get it.
It's
That's a bit of a
tough for me in the People's Republic of Kanukistan, whether they'll let us travel or not. I may not have my papers by then, so
Where are your papers?
Where are your papers? That's exactly what it's like. So
I bet. I know you guys are kind of wild up there, kind of rough.
We ask the questions.
Are you even allowed to leave your home?
We're barely allowed to speak. I mean, I shouldn't be doing this right now. In fact, I can hear a knocking at the door. But
you might be transmitting.
Too is they're doing like the Great Canadian Firewall, like what they did in China, apparently, to filter out the stuff that's considered to be harmful by the Canadian government. And that's kind of frightening.
Get out of here!
No, I'm not. I'm not lying.
We're allowed to leave our home, but there's always a couple of guys with black overcoats on and caps pulled down following you. So it's
a bunch of
let me find the article.
Coaches ready to kick your ass if you step out of line.
Crazy Cat Guy. He's a former Canadian, and he sent me the article, and it was like, wow, that's kind of frightening.
I used to live for a long time. I lived here. And I wish I wish I did again, but it's circumstances. But maybe one day I'll get back there one day.
I put the dates for the Vegas meetup in the private chat.
Yeah.
If I can make it, I will. Although the other thing is, I might be going back to work after a year or so off. So, because of the coup, I lost my job, but I may be going back to work. So, bad timing. Bad timing.
Okay, so this is from the National Post. Is that a Canadian news outlet?
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Me neither.
It's a Canadian cat.
National Post, yeah, it's one of the major print outlets in Canada.
All right.
It's a slightly better quality toilet paper than most of them.
It's a double ply. Nice and soft.
Yeah.
All right. Jesse
You're 10
Klein,
ply, bud.
Justin Trudeau, and the CRTC are coming for your cat videos. China, India, and India have been censoring critics on the internet, and Canada's liberals are apparently jealous. This is funny. Based.
They're jealous of everything. Yeah.
I like
Anyway.
this. Once hailed as a bastion of free speech, the internet is increasingly falling under the grip of state censors worldwide. China is purging dissent, India is silencing its critics, and Canada's liberals recently made changes to a bill that will allow authorities to control the content that people post to sites like YouTube. Watch out. Justin Trudeau is coming for your cat videos and putting your free expression at risk. Well, I like this article. He's really
Wait, hold on a second. I'm getting triggered by this because there's a lot of criticism of India's government and India's prime minister. And I get that, it's a giant country and we're not so used to someone having a more patriotic, nationalistic tone. But it's not China. Like, it's a real fucking democracy. And they really have free speech. They really do.
Yeah, but there's also issues in
Isn't porn
India.
illegal?
Oh, yeah, there is terrible corruption.
Isn't porn completely illegal in the whole country?
I know people who have seen porn in India.
I'm not saying that. That doesn't prove the point. That if that's free,
it doesn't. But there's not a crackdown like there is in Iran.
Well, it sounds like there might be an issue, Ace. It sounds like it might not be a flowing,
I guess I just don't like false equivalencies.
My question is
shitty journalism. But sorry, I don't mean to get triggered on your show. That's my show.
In India, this is my question. In India, is Indian food there just called food?
Yes, just like how Japanese food is called food in Japan.
But Chinese food is not called Chinese food in China.
Wait, what? Mind blown.
Everybody knows that the best Indian food is in Britain.
I have a friend who's watched a lot of Indian porn. It does exist.
You have a friend. I know a guy.
Well, particularly what they're censoring is a lot of criticism of the government, and that's bad. That is very bad. Whereas China obviously takes it a step further, and obviously anything that's criticizing the government gets censored. But so does everything.
China. I would say, and you're right. The framing is different though, because in China it's on the individuals and the media, and the individuals in India have much more freedom than the institutions in India. And so I wouldn't have that institutional feeling. Whereas I know people who are like, I'm extremely free. And
I do feel like it's probably worth mentioning though, if the government is saying these non-harmful, that this not illegal, I say non-harmful, not illegal. I guess that's up to the government to say, but it's just I don't know. Porn doesn't seem like the kind of thing that should be censored on a nationwide
Trust me,
scale.
I'm all for porn. Absolutely.
No, I'm just saying. So I'm just saying, if on a nationwide scale, if it's banned, that to me brings into question who's censoring what.
Yeah,
I mean, there must be something there.
Who makes the decision to do that and why?
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of inherited laws and inherited culture. Legal institutions are some of the slowest to change. So a lot of this stuff is holdovers in the way that a lot of laws in the United States aren't really applied anymore. So it's, and to Comic's point, that's where the political oppression really does come into play. Because then you can take these laws that have existed that don't get enforced, then get enforced opportunistically.
Selectively.
Yeah. I just feel like India gets a lot of shit under this administration. And I'm not here to defend Modi or attack Modi, but it's so hard for someone on the outside to judge a true democracy that's over 1 billion strong.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why I just get triggered when these things are well, China and India. I'm like, because they're neighbors doesn't mean they're anything alike.
New Bomb Turk points out is VPNs. Well, that's the thing. Some countries won't let you use a VPN. China is not going to let their citizens use a VPN to bypass their Great Firewall. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, that's grounds for being disappeared in China.
Yeah, probably.
If you could even get one, the fact that they find out you have one is all she wrote. say goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Freedom is not a thing in China. It is.
Well,
an
freedom is
illusion.
barely a thing here. Because it's not like this platform isn't censoring us and closing its grip, and they're basically the government.
You're not wrong, Vigilante, because in reality, these things that we call companies, specifically in tech, are nothing more than extensions of the state, even though they are not technically the state.
But it's true.
They are extensions.
If they were true
Yep.
extensions, then that would just be fascism. What we have
But
here
it's close, dude. It's close, man, because it's like I can't say things on this platform. It's like, okay, this platform, but it's like, where is Trump, dude? Trump's gone. Like it's they unpersoned him. Like, yeah, he could go find mines or whatever, but it's like they got rid of him on the platforms. That's kind of the same thing as censoring him.
But let me ask you this: would you rather live in a country where any president has a right on any single company's business?
No, but that's not what we're saying, dude. We're saying
the reverse of that matters just as much.
My private this argument is bad, and the reason why it's bad is because when the thing that sucks about it is the libertarians. What we're going to do is we're going to say my private company to the point that we get censored and where our opinions are not allowed to disseminate. That's one of the biggest issues out there is that we'll keep defending this garbage, saying it's a private company. They have a right to do what they want. But you realize the ones that are going to be censored are going to be us.
It's not even a private company issue.
It's not clean at all.
But Vigilante brought this up, dude. It's not a private company issue anymore. Once Amazon decided Parler couldn't be hosted, it's not a private company issue anymore.
That was not legal.
It's not just that.
Interesting situation,
and there was no consequence. They're the government.
I just think that's a fallacy of an argument to say, well, it's just these companies. Like there's only three of these companies.
No. Hold it. Specifically about the president. You don't want a president that has every right to go anywhere and do anything. That's a king. We don't believe in that. It's just an
example. I'm not using the president. I'm just saying. I'm not saying Trump,
that's
anyone.
I'm saying that's what I was talking about. I'm not talking about. I agree with you exactly on Amazon and Parler. That is.
If they collectively decide they don't want to hear your voice, that can happen. That's the same thing as censoring your free speech.
I think it's very different in terms of your world leader or your country leader. I mean you. I mean anybody. No, exactly. Wait, and so for you, it's very different than the president.
So what Vigilante?
But anyone
Vigilante says.
There is we are very close to that point that you're talking about. And just by the way, the current president, because he is the current president, was able to have things that happened to his son erased from the media conversation to the point to right now, I don't still think I can say it on the platform. So I don't know how thin is that hair?
How long has that been going on in this country?
To that extent?
To that extent.
I can't say things
absolutely to that extent, going back at least 100 years, if not all the way back to the beginning of the country.
You're saying?
No, absolutely not. Fair. Absolutely not. No. I disagree with that.
I disagree with that. Exactly what happened with Sally Hemings.
I heard what you said. Now let me counterpoint. I'd say, dude, it was like, no way, dude. If you printed an article that was like shitty about anybody, okay, it's like, yeah, they might not like you, but that's not the last time you can contribute publicly. Do you understand? Like once you say something that they deem you can't, that's it, you're done. That you're fucking done. If it's attached to your name, you can't go on Twitter ever again. It's a lifetime ban. If you can't go on this platform, it's a lifetime ban if they know it's you. Dude, that is unprecedented. That is unprecedented.
It's unprecedented for individuals. It's not unprecedented in the political sphere for political leaders. And there is a difference because we don't want the political leaders to have the ability to do things over us. When it comes to us individuals, I completely agree. I just have a different feeling when it comes to leaders.
I want to produce the Pentagon Papers as a counterpoint, because the Pentagon Papers gave political leaders essentially carte blanche to slander anyone they want, that they can't be slandered. That's it. They can't be slandered because they're public figures.
But that's proving my point, though.
But that doesn't stop them. But that doesn't cancel them. That doesn't end them. It just means that now it's a shit slinging contest.
For sure.
And that's all we get.
But sometimes that is all you're going to get. But let's put it this way: would you want the president to be able to shut down Twitter.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this, Ace, just to keep the conversation more about like individuals, not the president, just like anyone.
Gotcha.
Let's just say you and your name, like, you know, you were collectively banned from, you know, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Let's just say those three.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you not feel that your voice had been taken from you?
Personally, not really.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that sounds weird.
And the internet is the online. It's the public forum that used to exist where we can go to. That's the public square.
No. And that's the problem. That's a very good point.
All right.
Because
What if they did it to Gary?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that the internet is the public forum.
All right, Ace. What if they did it to Gary? What if they did it to Neurotic? They took him off those.
Do I think it sucks? Yes. Do I think it has an issue in terms of like?
No. Do you think? Would you argue? You don't think so?
No, because I don't think that this is the free speech platform. I think if you have something to say for the public good, go to the existing old school public forums. And I've said this on Gary's live.
Maybe that don't exist anymore.
No, I mean, they still do. I mean, Jake D went to his town hall and spoke about it, and he's not here right now, so like, you know, he can't.
That's a good point. I saw the video. I saw him.
Yeah, but like, I believe
that's
that if
not
you
a bad
really want
point. That's not a
something to
terrible
do in your country, in your local government, you go to those forums. If you want to go bitch on fucking Twitter, go fucking bitch about it, but don't expect me to care or fucking listen, because that's just Twitter. That's going to a private company.
Also, Ace, what you're saying about like Jake's going the local thing, yeah, that's not a bad point. That's not national. You can't weigh in on it. But
we don't. Hang on, the rules are arbitrary, and that's the problem: is the enforcement of very vague rules. Because at this point in time, here's an example of an arbitrary rule. You said something that Matt doesn't like. Matt can kick you from the stream. That's basically what Twitter and YouTube do.
And I'm surprised he hasn't.
But here's the thing, and I don't mean to bring it back to the president again, but I don't want to live in a country where the president has the right to come on my platform on his terms, his or her fucking terms. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
Listen to a Scottish Canadian. So I want to give you my perspective, and I'm not an American. I've worked and lived in America, and I love America. I'm not one of these Brits.
Oh no,
or
you don't
whatever
need to suck up to us, but please go on.
No, I do. I absolutely. I've grown up living in America, and I've lived and worked there. It was the greatest experience of my life. Traveled all over it. I've been everywhere. I loved it. When it's not a question of whether the platforms that exist are biased one way or the other. If you look at the history of the US and the way the founding fathers and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution were set up, they absolutely expected, indeed wanted media to be biased, but it was biased both ways. You had your newspapers that were this way. But now they're shutting down one side.
Yes.
I have no problem with an outlet, let's say Vox, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, whatever, being as biased as they want. Great, but when you shut down the other side, then that's a problem. And what they're doing is shutting down the other side. So this is so the history of media. You look at the 1800s, newspapers in America, absolutely polarized. But that was fine because there was no
by people who were running political parties and were in political office.
But there was no
But the equivalent Ace would be there. Then it would be like you couldn't go to buy you couldn't develop your paper at a printing press. Like it would be like now you're not allowed to use the printing press. Like that would happen today.
That people would only give their printing presses or rent their printing presses to people who they wanted to.
Do you want me to sit here and say that there's never been corruption until YouTube? I'm not going to say that. That's ridiculous. But dude, you have to be honest about this conversation. You have to really this platform. The big platforms matter, and it does control the conversation. It controls public perception. It has an impact on this nation. And if you ban people from it, it's the same thing as censorship, dude. It's the same exact thing, especially if it's politically motivated. How can you argue against that?
Look, I hear you, but I feel a little bit differently, and I am less worried about private companies having the right to censor political speech versus political institutions having the ability to censor any speech that they want.
With all due
Private
respect, that's a
companies
very
are
ignorant
political
take.
institutions.
Hey,
They
Ace,
already
that's how
are.
you
And
feel.
Ace,
I
And
have a
by the
question.
way, you talk about public forum. What is the Islington girl who left, who lives in Ontario? How is she even supposed to get to that public forum? Because being outside of her house gives her
Me
a
too.
$750 fine
Wow.
for the same
look.
government that's creating this firewall. So
Good
look,
point, brother.
I first of all, I can't talk to Canadian politics at all, so
Eh?
I can just say I sympathize. But look, I'm
Hoser.
not here to defend every single action that every single government does or that every single internet provider or every single internet forum does. I'm just letting you know that I don't believe that we are going to find our free speech on our computers. We're going to find it through our democratic institutions. And if our democratic institutions are failing,
What are
it's
you
on us to
talking about?
go and make
We
them.
live on our
I hear what you're
computers,
saying,
man.
dude, but part of the problem is that when you start censoring other people's ideas, and let's be honest, we get the majority of our ideas or sharing our ideas online. When those ideas start being censored, you're not hearing either the opposition or better ideas that are out there. It's
Yeah.
because you're hearing a narrative being
completely
pushed,
agree.
and that's the
I
biggest
completely
issue
agree.
here.
I just
I
don't
do
feel
support-
like one or two people being on YouTube or Twitter has impacted my ability to get their opinions or get
It's
even
going to
much of their
happen,
message.
though, man. I mean, there's a point in
Yeah.
time if you are not a Democrat on the far left, your voice is going to be censored at some point.
Oh,
Dude, the
I
only
mean, I've
thing
had
is
people in
Crowder-
my
if we
party
don't stand up to
absolutely
this.
call me a neocon because they haven't liked what I have to say. I just don't, that
The
doesn't
thing is,
affect
dude,
me.
the only reason why someone like Crowder or Shapiro is still on this platform is because they're too big to get rid of. If they could, they'd knock them all off, man.
I
They
think they're just
do-
waiting for the right opportunity.
So I think you're correct. And I don't understand why they don't do that unless the business argument is so not in the favor of doing that, right?
Yeah, the backlash would be too strong. That's all.
So in that regard, the free market's at least working in some, is at least having an impact.
Oh, I'm not
and,
saying.
And I
this is
don't take
China.
every
I'm just saying
political
it's
issue as
the same idea.
dying on that mountain. I'm
Well,
willing
the
to
other
wait
thing,
and
too,
see.
Ace has made a great point. Ace, you make a great point in that if you want to make a difference, all politics is local. That's what you're saying.
No,
You're
absolutely
saying
is. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
agree
I
with that.
tell you,
And for
getting
city
involved where
council,
you can.
get in front of your city council, get in front of your dog catcher, get in front of your school board.
I
That's
agree
what
with
you're
that
saying.
100%. But to be locked out of the conversation
Sure.
and then go local, it's like come on. You're telling me that's
Well,
not
Ace-
censorship?
No, I'm just
Ace, I
supporting
wouldn't
that
get to
part
hear
of it.
you unless you and I went to the same town council meeting if we can't do this right here.
Exactly.
And I have
Exactly.
and I have one other question for all of the libertarians, because I know Vigilante and Comics Division you are. And I for the most part am, but not entirely. But here's the thing that worries the hell out of me. The CIA has just awarded a let me just double check my numbers. The CIA
Oh, they got him.
just knocked them out.
No.
The CIA just knocked them
I'm
out.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
a $5 billion cloud computing contract to Amazon. Amazon is going to be doing business with the CIA on a direct basis.
Mhm.
I find it hard right now myself to think of Amazon as a private company.
I find it
No, it's 'cause
difficult
they're
to
not.
imagine why the CIA would need
It was Google, by the
Amazon's
way.
web servers.
That's not
So yeah,
but
I
that's
mean,
not the case.
these
That's not
things
the
these
point.
things are real issues, and I'm not saying that they're not. There are certain questions that I definitely don't see it exactly the same way as you guys do, but no, you are completely correct that our individual ability to express ourselves is impacted by what goes on politically and what goes on in our culture and what goes on these platforms that we choose to congregate on. In some ways, everything that happens on YouTube and Twitter and social media is on a level that is just a little bit less real to me than some other things. And
Also,
so if this level goes away, it sucks, but in some ways there are still other ways that we can go forward. And I don't know that I'm correct. I'm not saying I'm right.
Do you know the difference between a platform and a publisher? No,
Yes,
seriously. I'm serious question.
Yes, I do. I've also worked in ad tech, so
okay. I don't know what your background is.
I've done ad tech, I've done public relations, I've done politics, and now I work in local government.
Okay.
I just want to back up that one thing that Redshirt said. that these are no longer private companies. These are quasi-governmental global corporations serving the interests of other organizations outside of the corporate structure. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I mean, there's another thing too. I know a little bit about Google, or I should say about YouTube. One of the reasons why they have such a hard time competing, or I should say, part of the reason why they're having a hard time with competition is because of server space, or basically hosting. The reason why it's easy for Google is because, well, they already had the data center space. When Google bought YouTube, all they had to do is slap them in their data center. They're good to go. The issue with actual competition is they have to have that exact same kind of real estate. They have to have data centers to be able to house these servers. YouTube has crazy amounts of servers to basically go and serve out this content. Right now, there is no viable competition because that shit's expensive.
Well, I heard that didn't technically what Amazon did to Parler, wasn't that illegal? But it's like,
yeah.
But I think technically it was. And it's like, but they're so big, it almost doesn't matter. It's like, what are they going to do?
It's collusion, right? Because they basically signed this deal with Twitter, and Twitter, I mean, of course, there's no way we can really prove this, but I know there's a lawsuit. Look, they basically, it wasn't about free speech. It was about eliminating potential competition. And that's the problem when you have these big tech collusion going on.
They're too big. They don't need to adhere to the normal laws and rules. And that's what
I completely agree. And that's where libertarianism and progressivism meet, because this is exactly what progressives were talking about 120 years ago, where you have these giant corporations that can dictate any terms on anybody, and people really didn't feel free at all. And
let's take a little pause here, because I got to pivot. Because I like this conversation. It's really good. One, Tom wants to go because he doesn't have a lot to throw at this conversation.
no insider Disney stuff right now.
But it's great to have you here, Tom, all the time. Like anytime. I thank you for coming on.
Legend.
Oh, no worries, guys. I mean, I can hang out for a little bit to see if the conversation pivots, but if we just sit here talking about this for the next hour, I'm not gonna. No offense, guys, but I could be watching TV. Look, I love you all. I love you all. But I'm gonna get a lot of free time, and I'm not gonna sit here listening to this shit.
Tom, if we're talking,
I feel like I'm watching C-SPAN. So,
out of all the cable
one more point to make.
I'm over here shopping.
If we were talking about boobs, would you stay? Can we talk about boobs?
Oh, of course.
No, I don't want to change the conversation at all. Just keep it. I mean, you guys are having a very passion, and I just, to me, it's all fucking like, I mean, I understand it, but I have zero to add to it. I mean, you guys are making your great points, and it's not really my purview. So I mean, it's not my expertise at all. So yeah.
That's why I said we should talk about boobs.
I like that Tom's like, how about the last Ronin? You know what I'm saying? The shit was pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So far, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I recommend it definitely.
Pretty rad.
Yeah, please get it.
It is sick. I have both.
Great movie. John Frankenheimer.
Just to turn back to what Comics was saying for a second.
Okay. So
before we do that, I got one last thing. Finite SA sent me a $20 super chat. Thank you, Finite SA. And he says, free speech.
Hells to the yeah.
Free speech, but it costs them $20.
Unlimited.
Hey, free speech ain't free. Free speech ain't
That's
free.
right. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Finite San Antonio.
Okay.
Freedom is
and so I think when you talk about with YouTube, where it's like they have no competition
in the free world,
that's exactly the point. In that YouTube and like Google, like they cannot be connected if any other streaming platform is going to have a chance.
Well, back to the whole thing with collusion. There was a service back in 2017 called VidMe. I don't know if you heard of them or remember them.
Yep, remember that.
Vimeo?
But they basically shut down in December of 2017, and the reason why is that they were literally crushed by their competition, which was YouTube and Twitter. They didn't want them to be around. They basically screwed with them with payment processing, I believe, and all this other stuff. And eventually they shut their doors. And that's one of the biggest problems right now is that Google holds a monopoly in this space when it comes to, video sharing. We have some promising stuff coming out of Odyssey and a few others, but for the most part, there's nothing. There's no serious competition to YouTube. No one's gonna jump ship to another platform.
And I'll tell you this about Odyssey, and I embrace Odyssey. I have all my videos immediately go to Odyssey after I upload them. I have 0 views on them. 0. I'm not a big channel. I have no views. Okay, so it's like, listen, I'm all about Odyssey, but at least someone's seeing some of the shit I put out here.
Yeah, Odyssey's not giving me any views either. It's
and look, and Sentient Dildo, I underline shit when I say the shit I put out. So just
So like when we bitch about the lack of competition on YouTube, it's sort of like bitching behind closed doors, when in reality we could be petitioning our government to break Google up, which I think is really important. Please. I love hearing your stuff, man. I'm subscribed.
Oh, cool. I appreciate it. Everyone should sub. There's more boob talk. Much more boob talk.
Boobies. We need
more
boobies.
Boobs. More evil waifus. Lot.
Do you like fake tits? Discuss.
I'm not a fake.
No,
guy.
I don't like any fake.
I'd rather the skinny mini. Just a handful. Yep. Just keep that handful, sweetie.
Keep it real. Yeah, keep it real.
Keep
it
real.
You can motorboat.
Sentient Dildo is a fake penis, and he's in the chat. So
Exactly. I don't like that, man. Another thing, the girls getting the fat sucked out. A lot of pairs. It's very misshapen. You can just tell. And I mean, I kind of like, cause I like big butts.
That derailed you. You're like, I got a counterpoint. You're like, actually, I got a whole bunch of
we'll get to the counterpoint.
I got a whole bunch of other things I wanted to get.
You know what? I'll transition. We talked about how about assholes. So local politicians.
Is it on Twitch or no? Sorry.
Everybody has one.
Everyone has one. No one wants to hear it. Just like opinions. So with local politicians, do they only get money locally? Because I think they get money from their parties, which are also connected to the same money pools as everything else.
You can often get campaign money from the party, but it's pretty rare for your local candidate.
But most candidates.
By the way, local to Detroit, what happened when sheriffs were supposed to enforce and I can't say it, but enforce certain things about the process of getting presidents?
Like it didn't happen.
Yeah, same thing didn't happen in Philadelphia. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
but okay,
they're pushing everything so far on so many different levels that it doesn't matter if it's one dictator or 1,000. I stole that from the Patriot. It's the same essential thing happening. So after that, I much rather talk about ass.
Yeah, we can pivot. I want to pivot too, but it's not just petitioning your local government. The conversation matters. That's how people form their opinions. That's how ideas grow. That's how they develop, is conversation. It's the only way to make it happen. If you're destroying or limiting or trying to kill that conversation, you are killing the very speech that's necessary to even create policy, to even know what the fuck the policy is. You have to be able to talk about it unfiltered, in my opinion, but it has to be encouraged. It's the idea to say you go petition your local government, that's more effective. It's like, yes and no, man. Like, yeah, maybe on a local level and maybe like in your personal life, but like on a grander level, if you don't have big voices actually having these conversations and getting these ideas out and dissecting the minutia of all this shit, like that's, to me, is even more important.
Well, I'll be real with you right now. And it's that I don't believe most people have even an ounce of the ability to think about the important issues in a way that is objective or honest.
It doesn't matter. So
when there's these big conversations, most of the time I'm ignoring it until I find good voices. Like when I hear comics talk, I'm hearing opinions and I'm like, this is good, this is interesting, and it's giving me stuff to think about. And so if comics were to get kicked off of YouTube, I would be upset, but we still live in a country where I could find a way to hear him.
No, maybe I might quit. I might say, "Fuck it, I'm done." I mean, and you'll never hear from me again.
Or less.
You never know.
True. It'll be certainly less.
That is a consequence I don't often think about.
The good news, though, is that if we didn't have this platform, at least we have the media to give us multiple points of view so we can form our own opinions.
Exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we can't. No, we can't.
No, exactly
That
right.
doesn't happen anymore.
And that's the thing, man. And that's the thing. And this is the good thing about YouTube is that people made their own platforms and they're saying their own narratives. And they don't need to pick one or conform to the most powerful one. They get to say their own truth. And they get to dissect facts as
I
they
want to be
see.
told. I want to be told what the truth is. No, I'm just kidding.
And if,
a lot of people are like that though, man. You kid,
Tell
but
me.
that's
Hey, I
Yeah,
never
that's the
knew.
sad part.
Look, I don't have the
I know, man, I'm
emotional
just joking.
energy to figure
No,
out
no,
everything
look,
myself
you're right
either.
because
I'm 6 whiskeys in. I'm just joking.
look, the foundation of free speech is the free press. Because if you don't know what's happening, then you can't form your own opinions.
Well,
So
we don't have one.
Yeah.
We don't have one anymore, Ace.
No
we
opinions. No
We don't
opinions.
have we don't have a free press. We have a controlled press. There is
If
no
you are
truth in
only
the news,
looking
and there
on-
is no news in the truth. We have Pravda Izvestia now.
We
Well,
have
that's just a
propaganda.
mic-
We absolutely have propaganda.
More than that.
It's your responsibility as an individual. Let me refill my drink to sift through the shit and find.
Yeah, but
what's
like the
meaningful.
only place
have
I feel
propaganda.
I
We
can
have-
find, the only place I feel I can find anything of value is this platform, dude.
Wait a minute.
This is
Wait a minute,
it.
Ace.
Yep,
Ace,
I agree.
there's an old joke about what you just said, which is there is so much shit here. There's got to be a pony in it somewhere.
All right. I think I got the transition point.
Nice.
We don't have propaganda. We have MK, and I'm not talking about Mortal Kombat Ultra
I thought
because
you
that's
were.
exactly. But I'm going to transition into Mortal Kombat because I think I know Robert wants to talk about it.
Yeah,
And
did you
everybody
see
else
it,
will talk.
comics?
I
then
have
what's it-
not.
Ah,
Oh boy.
Me neither. Not yet.
I'm
I've got
sorry.
it, but I haven't seen it.
we got into it last week with Tom, but one
But I have seen The Father. Oscar-winning film, The Father. I've seen that.
Is that good?
It's actually very good, and I'd love to talk about it later once we get past this.
Oh yeah.
It's actually really good.
Huh.
Trust me.
I'm gonna drop one last thing. We don't need to talk about it, but look into social credit score. It's
Oh,
something
yeah.
that China is
Yeah.
doing. It's something that will come here enforced by corporations, and that is something to be
Yeah.
very, very afraid
Oh,
of
yeah.
because
Absolutely.
Yes.
it's
It's a term I
look
grew
how
up
it
with. It's
controls
called social
people's lives.
capitalism.
Hey,
Wait,
hey,
I'm just taking. Hang on, I'm just taking 50 off your score comics for saying that. Hang on,
Oh, well, thank you.
but that's true. That's exactly true. It's
That's
coming
how it
here.
works.
It's coming. Trust me.
Coming, it's already here. I think.
Yeah, it's
So-
here already.
From my perspective, it's been here my whole life. It's just different people have different scores in different communities, and you just got to basically.
No,
pick and
this
choose,
is
and
actually
some
something that's
communities are
actually
more
being
open than
done
others.
by the government.
Yes, I
this
know it's
isn't-
done in China. Yes.
Yeah, but we'll have like Twitter and YouTube basically using social credit scores on us, and eventually it'll
Awesome.
get to the point where
They already do.
Well, then,
Yeah, well-
we already have had Operation Choke Point, and we already have the corporations that don't like one competitor making sure that they can't find a bank that will process
we
payments
do.
for them.
that's
Right,
the
yeah.
issue is when you can't get a job because you aren't woke enough, and you can't. I mean, or
And
get
you can't have a bank account.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't
It's
get
coming, man. It's
vaccinated.
coming.
You don't
Yeah.
get vaccinated. That's the next thing.
Yep.
I just had that conversation with my boss because I'm probably one of the last people in my office. I haven't got mine yet. In my office, we haven't been in the office. But like, yeah, my boss was like, I told her like I'm planning on getting it this month, and she was like, I hope it's not because you're feeling pressured because everyone's doing it now. And it's like I appreciate that my boss is sensitive enough to ask that kind of thing. Yeah, no, like there is so much going on, and I agree with you guys on all of these problems that we have and where it's going. I just, yeah, I mean, there's just certain things I hold like, you know, that like liberty security trade-off. I'm flat out. I definitely go towards that security side a little bit more than liberty.
Security is an illusion, my friend. You have to realize that.
And Ace, it's
I'd
nice.
rather have,
It's
I'd rather
nice
have
that-
liberty.
It's nice that your boss. It's nice that your boss isn't pressuring you, but I just sat in a meeting today, and I've sat in 2 meetings now this week, where all of my other colleagues in my development group were all talking amongst themselves about how stupid the people are that haven't gotten a jab yet.
I can't stand that. I can't stand when people have no awareness of the people next to them, and it's been an issue for the past at least 5-6 years of just like the person next to you might not think
they know damn well I don't agree. They know damn well I don't agree with
and
them.
those people are assholes.
They don't care. They don't care. They're not assholes. They are the enlightened, and I'm the fucking idiot.
Yeah,
and they know
I'm talking about the
that. Right down to the marrow of their bones.
Well, red shirt,
everybody thinks so, right?
without getting too specific in case we get cancelled, red shirt, maybe you'll get the last laugh. Maybe you'll get the last laugh.
I might.
If folks are
I don't know,
maybe.
but I'm definitely feeling uncomfortable in meetings recently.
Yeah.
Luckily,
Is that
my
groupthink.
job is
It's
so
groupthink.
trash.
Groupthink.
Luckily, my job is so trash. We only have one meeting a week, and it got canceled this week. Thank God. But in effort to keep him here, because I don't want him to leave, the Wake Down, who also is a very good channel. Check the Wake Down channel. He's a very funny video. He's a Baby Perry Chan, and he's mine. I took him for Nerdwriter.
Baby Perry Chan.
But he asked, Midnight
Perry
After
Chan.
Dark. Tom, when is the next single coming out? And can I collaborate on the next single? Why not?
Well, actually, the next single was actually the first song I recorded for the album. And if you listen to Midnight's Edge Radio or Mead Radio or whatever,
okay,
I played it a few times now. But yeah, I've got one coming, and I'm open to collaborations. To
so what is it? Is it like a synth 80s thing?
Sort of, kind of like a concept kind of album.
Is there like an email I can send you some 80s-ish tracks that I have?
Sure.
Yeah.
Vigilante has got some good beats. He's got some great beats. Yeah.
So just look for Valiant Williamson in my.
There you go. There you go. I'm a Twitter boomer, so I have no idea how to contact you. But don't give out. You've given up your email. I don't want the plebs to get it. No, you're not plebs. We love you. We love you.
It's not like my email's that big of a secret, and my Twitter's right on my next to my name there. So there you go.
I can't wait for Tom to release his next record so I can review it.
There we go.
Yeah.
For you, I could probably just send you a copy. I enjoyed your last review. That was really funny. That was hilarious.
I couldn't resist it, man. I'm sorry. I just thought it was because I loved it. I love the record. I just couldn't resist it. I knew you'd get a kick out.
Oh, I got quite a kick out of it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I threw every rock review trope in there that I could think of. Right down to the stuff that they said about the Beatles and the Aeolian cadences and Mahler and whatever. That's all they used to review the Beatles like that.
No, it was really amazing to hear that. That was quite. I got quite a chuckle out of it. And
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
No problem, man. Thank you,
Tom. I wanted to ask you. I heard that second movie behind Mortal Kombat today on FNT. Demon something or whatever.
Demon Slayer. It's an anime that I want to watch.
It's an anime, and I believe how many seasons is there already?
I don't know.
It's a manga too, and
I'm impressed.
I can tell you the manga is fantastic.
I'm not sure.
I think it is.
All I know is that it's pretty popular, obviously, and I mean, considering the fact that it had shown on a lot less theaters and stuff like that, it did pretty well. And the only thing I know is that if you're not up to speed with the series, the movie won't make sense. Because
that's what impresses me more.
So you really got you obviously got to get yourself up to speed first with the series before you see the movie. But
that's pretty badass that they put it out like that. Like you have to know the lore before you can even show up here.
And still, they made enough money. That's what's impressive. Like, hey, these are all diehards of this series. Or not diehards, because it's one of the most popular series on the planet right now.
I guess made a phenomenal amount of money, like 500 million US.
Globally.
The manga itself outsold any American comic book. And it ended last year.
Didn't it outsell the whole industry, if I'm correct? Like all of it?
It is the most popular manga, I believe, to date in existence.
Yeah,
it's good.
I can't wait to see it.
What's the concept?
There's this kid, and his family gets attacked by demons, and everybody but his sister is killed while he is away, and she gets turned into a demon. So it's about him trying to go and kill this demon that killed his family, and making his sister human again. And the whole thing is that the whole thing with mythology in Japan is that demons go and eat people, and so the whole thing is with his sister. she has like this bamboo reed in her mouth to prevent her from trying to attacking people. And she willfully does not eat people. And so out of all the demons that they've encountered, this is like kind of like the first thing. But he goes through this training and he becomes a demon slayer. And it's all about him trying to like collect the blood of these demons to try and find some way of restoring his sister's humanity. It's really good.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Like you just succinctly described something I'm interested in. Whereas like when people say like, oh, there's a TV show and it's about people who like they live in this place and this is their job and this is what they do. I'm like, I don't care. But a boy who lost his family, who's trying to save his sister, who was abducted and became a demon, I'm in.
It's pretty interesting. He travels around in this box that he carries on his back, and he's not like the best of the best, and he's kind of like slowly kind of working his way up, and he gets his ass kicked a lot, and he learns, and he hooks up with these other demon slayers as well, and it's just a really good story. I mean, it's what we want, right? It's the hero's journey. It's about this kid, his life being forever changed, which is typically how the hero's journey starts, right?
Yeah,
and going out there and trying to make a difference. And it's not like he's the bestest ever at everything. He's a legitimately, kind of a sad sack of crap. I mean, not really. I mean, he's the kid, right? And or I should say a teenager. And he's struggling to make a difference in the world. And that's what the hero's journey is all about.
Yeah. There's a great book on screenwriting called Save the Cat.
Yeah, I've read it.
And honestly, like it's obnoxiously formulaic, but
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all, and it really it makes you understand like the whole thing with the lessons and bringing something back to the village, like why there's this sort of intrinsic core of the hero's journey, why it matters to maintain it. It's a pretty decent book on the subject, and it's not a tough read. It's not a complex read.
No, it's very easy, and also for transparency, the guy that wrote it is the guy that wrote the screenplay for Blank Check.
Yeah,
and he's very biased on creative storytelling because he hates Memento. And but overall, if you're wanting to understand how to write a screenplay story, very basic storytelling, he lays it out really well for you. He uses Star Wars as an example a lot, and he uses Aliens, which is where you get the name from.
Yeah, I think just story structure, like it's just a great, not like. It's not. I think he looks at it as end all be all. I don't agree with him.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I do think it's a great, it's a great foundation to build off of.
Exactly.
And it's like if you're trying to understand, like, why doesn't this story work? Like, not to bring up a sore subject there, Tom, but like that's what my problem with Mortal Kombat. I was like, I don't feel like this act structure works. I don't feel like the story structure is succinct to pull this off. And I'm just using that as an example. But if you're just kind of watching something, you're like, it's a good foundation for you to build off of for like a deeper knowledge of storytelling. It helps. Or The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, but that's more about life.
Real quick, you said Blank Check. Is that like the old movie from the 90s, like a kid movie?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's kind of weird coming from that guy. You're like, should I be taking advice from you? But
I know. I mean, maybe the movie was good. I don't remember. I was like 8 when I watched it, and it was like the 90s on the Disney
If you
Channel
watch like any Happy Medicine movie, I mean, you see the formula in it because he lays it out, and to the T. Those movies follow the formula that's laid out in the book. The better movies are the ones that are better at disguising it from you. Like Star Wars is a movie that kind of disguises it a little bit. But it's like I said, some movies a little bit more transparent than others. And Happy Gilmore is a perfectly good example of a movie that follows the structure to a T.
Great movie.
Yeah, basically any movie that was done by what's his name,
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing though, comedy can be super formulaic though. Like comedy has the ability to do anything because if you're funny and your jokes work, a lot of story structure, a lot of continuity, a lot of stuff just doesn't matter to me. Comedy has a way of getting away with things that other movies just can't, or other genres just can't. And then Barbara
I mean,
asked me a
and you
question.
can do a lot more kind of avant-garde stuff with comedy too. I mean, you can do something that doesn't make sense as a gag. I mean, look at Venture Brothers is a really good example of that. I mean, they still have those basic storytelling elements, but there's a lot of gags.
Yeah, it doesn't really, as long as it's funny, comedy can work. It doesn't have to, like, it helps. It can make it more effective. But if there's jokes, that's really all you need.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to have like some sort of vehicle for those jokes, which is basically your plot, right? I mean, and even in comedies, you have your A plot and your B plot.
I mean, but
and they typically intersecting and they both resolve at the end.
Yeah, but like a great example of one that completely defies that convention is Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail.
Well, again, that's more kind of avant-garde.
Don't get me started because I can recite that whole movie right now.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's like it doesn't
your expectations, but it does it in such a way that's not offensive.
Oh, Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here.
But from a storytelling point of view, it doesn't resolve the hero's journey at all.
No, it doesn't. That's the part that's funny about it. They all get arrested. Yeah. That's the kind of the avant-garde part of it.
Yeah, so you don't need it really.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find. There's a book by this author Stephen Pressfield, and he wrote these terrific books, which I would recommend to anyone who's interested in like really doing anything creatively or just kind of like building off themselves. Called The War of Art. Do the Work. They're just sort of tomes that are very helpful for like the artist's journey, but it's not pretentious. It's very just based, but it's just very like solid advice and really well put and just very helpful. But he did write a book called The Artist's Journey, which is, I think he kind of gets a little woo-woo. He gets a little out there, but I think it does a lot to connect the mythos of the hero's journey and that 3-act structure and why all those things exist to like real human experience in the world. And that's why it's like, I think a lot of people bristle at the idea of a 3-act structure, like formula, but there's something bigger at play, at least in his opinion and mine. And that like, I think goes on and he kind of gets into it as to why that hero's journey matters. Why it isn't just a story structure thing that works. It's kind of coded in life.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that makes us kind of like relate to it is that with the 3-act structure, by the end of the first act, you know, your protagonist is on the journey and and he's had minor successes. In Act 2 is where everything basically falls apart, or it's the beginning of the end, so to speak. And Act 2 should end basically with some form of disaster or somebody dying. And he calls it the Dark Night of Souls. Basically, it's that all is lost moment in the story.
It's the end of Empire.
Yeah. Yeah. I was about to bring that up too. It's like, if you actually look at the first 3 Star Wars movies, you have that 3-act structure within it. You have the light victories at the end of Star Wars where they blow up the Death Star. You have the down note ending of Empire, which ends with the Dark Knight of Souls, and then you have the final resolution and conflict in the 3rd movie. And that's the same thing. And the 3rd act of the story is where you have that kind of that resolution. The protagonist confronts the antagonist, and he's basically found his ability or his confidence or has trained enough to be able to take out the antagonist.
And then he comes back with the gifts for the village, which is the knowledge, the greater wisdom, the Jedi Order, and like bringing Jedis back to the galaxy. Yeah,
I don't know where this came from, but I heard it from a friend of mine. A friend of mine who is really into screenplay writing it sums up the hero's journey as a man climbs up a tree, people show up and throw rocks at him, he climbs down, forever changed. And that's basically the hero's journey.
There's more to it than that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the over.
It has to be about choice, though. Like the big thing about the hero's journey is choosing your path.
Yeah, well, he chooses
like
to climb the tree.
Lieutenant Ellen Ripley going back to LV-421. Like when the families are in danger and she chooses to go back. Like that is Luke choosing to get on the ship and go with Ben. Like that is the fundamental. That's the beginning, really. is like when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
choose to do it. So you have to.
And that's why it works so well in Star Wars, because when Luke brings that back again, when he's like, I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
Yeah.
He's reaffirming that choice that we have been since the end of, really since the beginning of the third movie. We've been wondering if he's like going to go dark, and he's not, but he's like, when you're so sucked in, that's when it works so well.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not only that. It's like at that point is where Luke, finds his quote unquote power, or obviously has trained enough. I mean, the three movies all together, kind of complete his hero's journey.
Yeah. And
there are some days where it's like I can hear those words. I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Yeah,
and it's like
in a weird sort of way, in Empire, it's in a weird sort of way, it's kind of Han's hero's journey.
Yeah, I mean, New Hope certainly is.
Yeah,
because he's a changed man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everyone kind of goes on a journey, really, in that movie, in that series, because it's really well written.
Oh yeah, Chewie's changed much.
Okay, maybe not Chewie, but Leia. Leia has a journey. Leia softens a lot and kind of accepts Han as like that whole thing. Like that's her journey. She's so married to being this tough female, general that
she softens at the end.
Yeah, and be like, it's like, okay, you can let someone in, you can be, and that's her journey. It's like everyone has a journey in that. It's
it's almost like the original Star Wars trilogy is incredibly great.
Well, it's because it is, man. I mean, it's like if you actually ever read The Hero with a Thousand Faces, any of what's his name?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Hero of a Thousand Faces.
Tough read, but I have it on audiobook. It's a little meandering, but it's still at its core it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. The Power of Myth is another one. I just can't remember the guy's name.
Campbell.
Thank you, Joseph Campbell. He's not wrong, and he kind of breaks all that stuff down with Star Wars being an example. And yeah, I mean the Power of Myth is a great book.
Yeah. Also great. The 70s rock fan and his posters. Pretty awesome.
He's gonna bend it.
Are these all originals? Are these originals?
Looks like it.
The way he's moving.
These are the originals. I've got a bunch of these.
Put
They're
them
the original
away.
poster magazines from
Touch
the
them with
original
gloves.
time.
I'm like, yeah, you're touching them with your dirty Scottish fingers.
What the hell?
God, no.
I've had these in my dirty hands dozens of times.
If you've got a dozen of them, send me one, man.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't let you know there is a fee for coming on this show. I didn't let you know
these
that.
are the original ones. Yeah, these are the original poster magazines.
Oh boy.
That's
Now they were slightly different in the
awesome.
UK. They were slightly different in the UK from the American ones, but these are the originals. That's the original one.
This
That
feels
is the
like
actual
a scene in a
first
movie
one.
with somebody waving a gun. You're just like, ah.
I'm that old. I went to the cinema to see it.
Quit
originally.
fucking bending it.
I was old enough to see it in the cinema too, though I was
Tom's
pretty
really
young.
giving me
I did see it.
I'm
I'll
feeling
lay
the
it down
same way.
flat. Okay. I have taken very good care of that. Trust me.
He's going to rip one.
Yes. I'm like, I just feel like one of those movies where the guys.
I'm not going to get rid of it. It's always going to be mine. I'll pass it to my children. They don't care, but I'll pass it to them anyway.
Oh no, it's gonna end up with this is grandpa's things. I don't know.
No, I think
Some space movie.
my daughter will take it. She likes sci-fi. So.
At least educate them on eBay so they don't just, we'll just toss it to the Goodwill. You know what I mean?
Matt, I got to head out.
You were
Okay,
talking about
Richard.
Star Wars, so I couldn't resist it.
It's good. It's good hanging with you, brother. As always.
Well, it's been a pleasure, everybody. And Matt, as always, thank you for inviting me. I've had a great time. Ace,
Okay.
Mr. Freeze. Love talking to you. Love talking to you. And it's an honor always an honor talking with Tom and Comics Division. This is the first time I've been on a stream with you. This has been great.
I thought we were on like a couple weeks ago together.
And maybe, but
Yeah.
this is the first. This is the first one where I
weeks
think
ago.
I actually
Maybe
said
you're
something
sober
while you
enough to
were.
remember it.
Well, I think this is the first time I actually got to say something while you were on the stream.
That could be it too.
That I think that's it. But yeah, okay. And that's 70s Rock Fan, Vigilante Williamson, and 24/7 Fusion Media with the voice.
Hey,
It has been a pleasure. Take care. Talk to you all later.
Later, brother.
Laters.
All right, peace. And honestly,
Later,
I
man.
probably
Yeah.
need to get out of here too. I don't want to
All
kill
right.
massive, but I'm hitting that wall because it was a long day for me. This has been fun. This has been really fun. Talked a lot more about politics and less about breasts than I would have liked, but it was still very fun.
We can make up for that. Don't
Well,
go.
let's
We
say
can make up for that.
You can cover all the titties now.
Yeah, and I unfortunately this is an episode. What is it? Episodic is villain of the week or serialized villain of the week? I got confused.
I don't know.
Episodic is villain of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
serialized or linear storytelling is basically when it's basically the continuation of the same
after
story.
another.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this is an episodic show. This is a self-contained thing. There will be no continuation outside of like Drunk 3PO references and boobs. But I want to just thank everybody and thank you, Matt, for having me on, despite my obvious drunkenness. And I appreciate
Thumbs
it.
up staging me now.
All right.
Anytime, Vigilante.
Oh yeah, and if you haven't subbed, please sub. Peace.
Fucking A. Later, homie.
Laters, dude.
Cheers, man.
Love Vig. He's a good dude.
Oh, he's a great man. Yeah, great channel.
He's another guy who I've really enjoyed listening to because he's got opinions that are different than mine. And unlike a lot of the nonsense I hear, he's making sense. And so that's really
I
useful.
wouldn't give him that much credit. Don't go.
No, I don't listen to every show. It's impossible. I don't spend my whole life on YouTube, but I've enjoyed just like, I don't know. I'm not someone who likes to live in a bubble. I've never liked bubbles.
Yeah.
So
No, you're right, man. It's diverse.
It's just been a nice.
Yeah, diversity of thought is so important.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the real diversity as comics is diversity of thought.
Yeah.
And there's not enough of that.
That's a great point.
Vigilante is a fantastic guy. He's got a great channel. He always says interesting stuff. Yeah, I love him.
V-Dub and Mac together. You guys got some good shows.
Thanks, man. I love doing that show with him. It's so much fun. I want to start getting guests on it. I want to start reaching out to people. Speaking of guests, dude, the guy who was on FNT tonight, fucking based. Love that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Dude, he didn't fuck around. He finished off the stream with vote for Caitlyn Jenner for president.
Yeah.
You guys hear that? That was awesome.
Yeah,
I was like, this guy's not fucking around. I thought that was really cool. He was saying
started it.
Well, yeah, he was just saying shit that I was like, wow, he's really saying things. He's not kind of being like the actor who's like, yeah, I'm not into this, but still being diplomatic. Like he was all in. I was like, nice, man. Good stuff.
That was like the Wes Moody's Trekking on Tuesday the other night. I don't know if any of you guys were on that, but
no.
They were showing a fan film as we do on that. We watch a lot of fan films on that show. And the director jumped on, and they made it for $1,000. Fantastic, fantastic movie. It was really good. And the director came on, and he was just, based as hell. He was absolutely, and he was a African American gentleman, but he was fantastic. He was just like, new Star Trek is crap. But he made this fantastic fan show for $1,000, and it was better than the millions that they throw at the crap now, STD. So, we're all out there. We're all out there.
Yep. 100%.
There's lots of good people out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so we should be happy about that. It's not all doom and gloom.
No,
and
I'm
the
grateful.
creative people will win out in the end, I think. I mean,
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, I'm reading Altered Carbon right now, and I've already read it. But I want to start doing streams with Thoth about it because he's like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to science fiction. But I want to do like kind of comparisons where we talk about the book and the show, because I do think the show's great in certain ways, but I kind of want to get into the guts of it.
Season 1 is really good. Season 2 falls apart.
I agree with comics. Season 1 was great. I'm not that keen on season 2.
Well, the problem with season 2 is they took the cyberpunk, or they took the punk out of the cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even try. I mean, I just watched like about a half hour of the first episode.
It was boring. Season 2 was boring.
Oh God, it was boring. I mean, look how much drugs he did in the first season and all these different things. And it's like I was looking forward to it because I really like Anthony Mackie as an actor. And I thought he was a perfect pick for it. And it makes sense. I mean, this is like a pretty good example of how you can go and completely change your protagonist because you're dealing with, these bodies which you can swap yourself out of. And it's like, okay, you could be, a woman one season, a black dude another, an Asian guy another, a white dude another. And
so
it
much
totally
you could do with
makes
that.
sense. And
there's a lot of books too. Like, it's not just, there's a lot of story. Yeah. The thing is, though, that's kind of what I wanted to get into, because it's like I'm reading this book and this book is amazing. Like, it's such a good read. Like, it's very immersive, but it's not overly complex to the point where it feels like a chore. It just strikes the right balance. And I'm like, I want to get into the show because I remember the show was so good, but I think there were elements that were like already corrupt and kind of woke about it. So I want to dive in and really figure it out.
Season one, I don't recall seeing anything.
No, I didn't find that much in season one. No,
but
I find it was very good.
It's not that it's a woke show. It's that it's comparison to the book. It's like the way Gary pointed out.
Season 2 is woke as hell, though.
Yeah,
but like it was like, you remember how Gary pointed out in The Witcher how he's like, well, it wasn't woke, but the only things they switched were to make a man from the books. The only things they switched were to make the man look worse. I think there's shit like that, like the whole girl who was in like psychotherapy, the daughter, and who was overcoming the trauma. I don't even think she's in the book. And like Quelcas Falconer, the woman who's like the revolutionary, there was no revolution. Like the envoys were not revolutionary. So there's stuff like that they introduce that aren't it's not like woke, but it's like
she's a character in the series, but she doesn't get introduced till later. And I think she did start the envoys, I believe. But the issue is the showrunner wanted to introduce her earlier.
I'm reading the book right now, and she sort of looms over the first novel as like kind of like the lessons that Takashi has to like go off of. But they're just a military force. They're not like a terrorist organization trying to break up the protectorate for the people. It's just like it'd be like the Navy SEALs or something. Like that's all. Like they're just super soldiers of the future. There's nothing. They still exist.
Orders. Yeah.
And they still exist in the world of the first book. They just are off world doing off world shit. So they twist it and smash some things. And that's what I really want to get into with my series. But the reason I brought it up is because I'm having a blast reading this book. And it's like, oh, yeah, there are things I can just enjoy. And it's a fucking blast.
I know. That's the thing is so sad about it. What pissed me off about The Boys is that if you've read the comic series, it's really, really good. And I know a lot of people complain about deconstructions, but it is a perfectly good example of a deconstruction of the superhero genre done right. And it's not going and crapping on existing properties to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it totally takes the piss out of Marvel Comics. It takes the piss out of the industry. I mean, it's just a really good story.
That's what appealed to me. The absolute satirical, mocking part of it. And they undermined that in the second one by the going woke. First season of The Boys, I thought was fantastic.
I thought the first season was pretty woke too, but it wasn't.
That's what I was going to say.
But nowhere near as
same
bad.
way. Yeah. And it's the same thing, rock fan. It's like it wasn't woke, but it was woke in comparison to the source material, where you're like, hey, that's different.
Yeah, and I've not read that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Altered Carbon always has that same thing, where you're like, it's not woke to just the casual viewer, but if you know the source material, you're like, you're adjusting some things here, you know?
Yeah. It just ruins everything. It ruins everything.
It does. But is anyone enjoying anything right now? Is anyone having fun with media?
I don't know about having fun, but I have to say that, despite the debacle that was the Oscars, and I do not watch the Oscars. I have not watched them for years. As I say, I did watch The Father, the film that Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for, and it was really good. It is now. It's not genre. There's no way you could describe it as. It's not sci-fi. It's not comic based. It's whatever. It's a drama. Yeah. But it was an absolutely brilliant film, and he was very good in it. So for all the crap that the Oscars did, they got that one absolutely right. And it was about a real issue that really does affect people, dementia. So it wasn't about a fake woke issue. It was
Right.
it's an issue that affects a lot of people and is growing. But the way that the director filmed it, and it's from a stage play, it's really all in one set, virtually all of it. But it's a set that constantly changes because the perspective of the guy suffering from dementia, he doesn't know what reality is. So when I was watching it, I almost had the feeling that I was watching something like a psychological horror film, because you didn't know what was going on, because he doesn't know what's going on. Characters change faces. The same scene got replayed again and again with different people in it saying the same lines, and it was almost like a psychological horror. And it was a really good film. It almost gave me a genre feeling.
Have you seen the movie The Session 9?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh man, you gotta check it out if you haven't seen it.
Is it the same idea of dementia and all that?
No, but it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like the external appearances. It's a horror movie, and in reality, it's something a little bit different. But it's done so well because you're thinking, because what it is, it's about this crew that go into buildings and clean out asbestos and stuff like that. So they remove like hazardous material. And so they go into this old asylum to basically remove the asbestos from it and lead paint. And one of the workers finds these tapes, and he starts listening to them. And it's about this girl, and they believe she's possessed and all the stuff. And it's really interesting. And like these like really terrible things start happening. And like I said, I want to ruin it because you should check it out.
No. Oh, what is it?
Session 9.
Session 9. That just sounds amazing.
God, that the redhead dude that was really popular back in the 90s, and he was on like the CSI shows, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy from the meme. The guy from the meme.
He always takes his glasses off and says
except after C.
He was in that movie Jade. Hang on, let me look it up real quick.
Is it a movie or something?
But I get.
What is that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Comics, because the father, despite the fact it's not a genre film, has the feeling of a psychological horror film, because you don't know whose perspective is real. Is the guy that's suffering from dementia, the old guy played by Anthony Hopkins, is he seeing what he's seeing, or is in fact what he's saying true? David Caruso, are the people around him conspiring against him because that's what he thinks?
Yeah.
That's interesting to see that perspective. Like there was that great movie, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, that was about a man who was like completely paraplegic or quadriplegic, couldn't walk or talk or move or anything like that. And my grandfather was like that for 10 years in his life. And I never understood what it was like until I watched that movie and saw that movie. And it was like, oh shit, like, wow, like you're just trapped inside and everyone around you doesn't know. But it was a movie done from the perspective of the guy who did it. And it's like you're hearing his thoughts as he's seeing everybody.
Yes.
And it's like, shit, man, that's intense. It's an intense thing. Side note, I told Julian Schnabel that, and I like put the personal story on it, and he blew me off. He was just like, oh, thanks. Like it was just like, I was
nasty.
like, you fucking tool. It wasn't nasty. It was just you insensitive tool. Like I'm telling you a personal story about a human being that's connected to my family who went through that, and it helped me understand that. And you're just like, oh, thank you for the compliment. You're like,
yeah. And that's partly why
it's about father, you, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. And the father appealed to me because I do have personal connection to that kind of thing, and dementia is a big issue, and but it did show the way it was filmed. You could have dropped into that not knowing it was about dementia and thought it was a psychological horror movie.
Vigilante Williamson, $2 super chat. Thank you, Vigilante Williamson, with a $2 super chat. Just drunk super chatting. Love you all. Right back at you, Chief.
He's the man. You know that Vigilante Williamson lives by a van down by the Detroit River. He lives in a van down by the Detroit River.
That woman.
His mask fell from the sky.
Well, he is a black superhero, so if he was on the CW, That's
So,
what they would do with it.
Are there
no, he's a
any
real
other-
black superhero, not a fake one.
do you guys have any other, movies, TV shows, books that have just, covered issues that have mattered? Because, Matt, you just mentioned that, you have a family member for a decade that was trapped. And I found that a book dealing with head injury was very useful when my mother was struck by a vehicle about a year and a half ago. And reading a book about head injury was really helpful for me to, I flew home, took care of my mom for about close to a month. I really valued hearing another just another perspective on I don't know. I found it so helpful. So I was wondering if there are other books like that, because just from what you've said, Matt, now I want to see this because of what I understand. Like, it's just another impactful thing for me to experience.
Will Smith, I think he did that movie about concussions, specifically in football.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know that he did that.
I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into the Alzheimer's thing for a
No,
long
that's
time
what it's
because of
called,
family
it's
issues.
concussion.
But there have been movies like Away from Her, which was a Canadian movie with Gordon Pinsett, which is Alzheimer's. But they covered it in True Detective season 3, with Maharishi Ali's detective character was suffering from dementia. Wallander, if you've ever watched Wallander, the Kenneth Branagh detective show, Scandinavian based, his character suffers from dementia in the final season. So there have been a lot of good productions that have covered that issue, So
Yeah, both my mother's parents went through that, but especially for my grandfather, with like sort of the things he lived through, forgetting wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, for some reason, Vigilante, I didn't think it was called concussion.
Is that what it is?
on the notes.
I only said it like 3 times, but
Yeah.
That's right.
Sounds like I haven't spoken in 20 minutes and you won't acknowledge me.
We're probably all talking.
it's all
over
right. I'm
Tom.
kind of used to it.
I mean, I wasn't trying to get over serious there, but there are some good movies out there that cover those issues, but they're actually entertaining too. And The Father, the Oscars got one thing right, which was that is a good movie, and Anthony Hopkins was, as usual, magnificent in it.
The Diving Bell and the Butterfly has good levity too, because he's pretty funny at times. I mean, it's a brutal movie, but it's funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, Hopkins is the man,
Yeah, Hopkins
He's played
is the
some
fucking man.
good parts in his time, and there's the whole cast is good. Rufus Sewell's in it, who's one of my favorite actors with, the Dark City and which is a great movie.
Dark
if
City
you're-
is a great movie.
Oh, I love that movie. And
Anyone ever seen it? Tom?
Dark
Oh, yeah.
City.
Okay.
Saw it in the
Love
theater,
that
man.
film.
Nice.
Love that film. Me too.
I
Yeah,
love
it.
that movie.
That's a movie that plays with your expectations.
Yeah, it certainly
It does.
I think it's something I think if I was to watch it again, I'd like it more than when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I got it on a Blu-ray. It's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic film.
I didn't love it the first time either, and I'm finding out it's interesting. We didn't realize how good we had it, but a bunch of movies. Like,
It's so true.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I went back and rewatched. Me and Vidge did a stream the other day about From Dusk Till Dawn, which was awesome.
It was a great stream, man. Great
Thank
stream.
you very much, man. It was really fun. But I also around that time went back and watched Desperado, and Desperado was one of these movies in my head. That I
That's
was
another
like,
great movie.
yeah, in my head I was like, oh, it's pretty good, and I was like, oh my god, this movie's incredible.
Well, the
And it was-
funny thing is, like in today's day and age, any mediocre '90s film is going to be the bee's knees.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you?
that's why
You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. That's
What's
why
that?
my old
monkeys.
getting old and nostalgia actually turns out to be a good thing because it's real. They were better in those days.
Sometimes
You know?
it's true. Sometimes nostalgia is accurate. But that's what I feel like comics. That'll probably be the reaction you have when you go back and watch Dark City. You'll be like, oh my god, this is so much better than I remembered.
It's a cool movie.
I saw 12
Richard
Monkeys in
O'Brien.
theaters.
What a great actor he is. Richard O'Brien from the Rocky Horror Show. He's in it. He's fantastic.
I love the Rocky Horror. I didn't even understand it the first
time is
6 times I saw it, but I thought it was a riot.
Yeah, Richard O'Brien plays the kind of bald-headed servant butler.
Riff
guy.
Raff.
Riff Raff. Well, he's in Dark City. He's one of the bad guys.
Aliens.
One of those a spoiler alert comics.
Yeah, he's one of the creepy guys.
Spoiler alert for a movie that's what came out in the 90s, 20 years ago at this point.
You know what? I don't do it with obscure movies though. You know what I mean? Because it's like not everyone's seen Dark City. Not everyone
Dark
knows.
City really that obscure though? I mean, it's got Kiefer Sutherland, William Hurt. It's
obscure enough. I feel like most people I know have not seen it.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland doesn't have the pull that other actors.
And he's certainly no leading man in that movie.
You're just anti-Canadian. That's all.
I'm so anti-Canadian as I'm watching Stargate SG-1, and everyone says again. Oh, every actor is Canadian.
Kiefer's a Canadian.
Oh, it was 98. Okay,
his dad
for some reason I thought it was older.
Kiefer's not.
Kiefer's Canadian.
No, he's not. When he grew, so his successful Hollywood father, Donald Sutherland, raised him in Canada, and that's how he became such a successful actor. I don't think so, dude. He's American.
He's Canadian.
Is he really?
Brought up in Canada. Yeah, Kiefer's Canadian.
Get the fuck out of here.
Don't steal our stars. You've got enough of your own.
Kiefer Sutherland was actually born in London.
Yeah, well, he was born there.
And then he went to Canada.
No, he's a Canadian citizen, man.
He seems like such an LA.
And
Kiefer Sutherland was born in London, England, UK. 2 Canadian actors. His dad and his mom. So yeah, I mean, technically, you could say he's Canadian, and he probably did live in Canada.
His grandfather was a Canadian politician. He's a huge Canadian guy.
But he was actually born in London.
A very little Canadian guy. He's only 5'4".
He grew up in Canada.
Yeah,
he did.
That is news to me.
Donald and Kiefer are all Canadians. Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that. Huh.
They value their Scottish heritage. I know a guy that's met Kiefer Sutherland in a kilt on Princes Street in Edinburgh, when he was there for a wedding. So,
wait, your friend was in a kilt, or Kiefer Sutherland?
No, Kiefer was in a kilt.
Okay,
and he was absolutely pissed out of his. He was pissed out of his mind. He was drunk as a skunk. So, true story. I didn't meet him, but my friend did. So, anyway,
shocked by that. That is
Kiefer is Canadian to the core. Yep.
What do you know about that? Learn something new every day. All right, fellas, it has been a long day for me as well. We're approaching 3 hours. I feel like that's a pretty solid stream. Not as late as we normally.
We're just getting started, man. We've hardly touched on anything.
Yeah, man. We haven't talked about the national debt yet.
Exactly. Like it lasts for 4 days. We should be EFAP levels of stream here.
You got weather and sports to go yet too.
Yeah.
Weather and sports. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on the NFL draft? That just happened. The Jets took a quarterback 2nd overall. What do you think?
What's the NFL?
What is the NFL? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Jets sucked when I was born, and the Jets sucked for my whole life, and the Jets will suck when I die.
It's the truest thing you've said all night.
Never a sure word has been said.
The Jets 2024.
They're awful. They're
Sharks
terrible.
and the Jets are the only Jets I know.
Well, boys, let's Ace, you're launching your channel. When is that? We got a date on that?
Okay, so here are the details. This Sunday, I will be recording my first video. It's going to be about the book Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and it's a fantasy sci-fi about fucking time travel.
Nice.
So I'm going to really enjoy it, and that's going to get published this week.
Cool, great. Keep an eye out for that. Ace Mr.
Nice.
Freeze. That 70s rock fan, you got anything coming up?
I don't know. Maybe I do. I've actually put out about 3 videos this week myself on my channel. My latest was
nice.
Latest was about Robert Silverberg's Up the Line, which is one of my favorite time travel novels. I do videos on science fiction novels. How quaint!
Cool. You guys should collaborate. That sounds like a match made in heaven, right there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
And I also stuck out this week the first in a series of videos I'm doing on what I call the underlooked bands, as opposed to overlooked. An underlooked band
I
would be a
swear to
band.
God, I thought that was some Scottish term or something. Underlooked. I thought that was
He's a
like
break
Brudenbach or
man, you
something. I
dobber.
was like,
He's a break. I'll give
Underlooked.
you Malky if you keep that up. So Underlooked band being a band that maybe had a little bit of success back in the day, but nobody remembers them now.
Nice. Like the Damned.
Yeah, well, The Damned would be a
The Damned.
perfect candidate. And I saw The Damned live back in the day.
Fucking love
Oh man, I'm envious.
Oh, I see. When I was a young lad, a teenager, all the punk bands were touring the UK in the late 70s, so I saw them all.
Did you
Except
see
for
the
the
Sex
Pistols.
Pistols?
I didn't see the Pistols. You know why I didn't see the Pistols? They cancelled the gig. The council,
blows.
the city council cancelled the gig because they were controversial.
They actually played in San Antonio the year I was born, but I wasn't living here at the time.
I wish I had seen them. I've seen Glenn Matlock.
Or early 80s?
No, I was early 70s.
Early
I've seen
70s.
Steve Jones
Yeah.
and Glenn Matlock on their own, but
Oh,
I've
okay.
never seen the Pistols. But I've seen all the other ones: the Clash, the Damned,
You've seen the
the
Clash?
Stranglers.
Holy shit.
I've seen them all.
You've seen the Clash? Wow, dude, that's rad.
I'm an old guy. What do you expect?
Yep.
There's
My dad's never
privileges.
seen a
Age has its
Clash.
privileges.
I'd say my dad's pretty old. He hasn't seen any of these.
Yeah.
Well, I was into music, so I was lucky enough in the era I was born in, and I was born in '63, and I grew up in the '60s. But in the '70s, I had classic rock, I had prog rock, I had punk. I was just at the right age to get all of them, and I wasn't genre specific, so I could like them all.
So
And
much
it was
good
just
music.
I saw the Police before they were famous. I saw Joy Division, the Buzzcocks,
Wow.
XTC,
The Buzzcocks.
The Buzzcocks,
you-
that's awesome.
That's
the
awesome.
Dickies, you name it. Every band you can
Punk.
think of, other than the Pistols, I saw them all.
I saw Nine Inch Nails before they were popular.
Oh, that's,
Really?
Yeah.
There's nothing like that, is there, comics? To see a band.
I saw them in
before-
'89.
Yeah.
The only
And,
band I have, the only band story I have like that is OAR. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
Of a Revolution. I saw them before they were big.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool, isn't it?
So
It's
not
cool.
as cool as Nine Inch Nails.
I saw Skinny Puppy twice. Seen Ministry a couple times too.
I like how you saw Nine Inch Nails the year I was born.
Wait,
Because
what
like
year?
5 years, 89. Because like 5 years later, I was like, "What's this band called Nine Inch Nails? That sounds painful." Oh, they're good.
Yeah, they were cool. Nine Inch Nails
They
was
were
cool.
fucking cool right out the gate.
Right on.
Mm,
Well, Cox, what you got coming up, my friend?
Oh God! So you remember that article I shared with you guys last time I was on here? Well, I've been
racing
making
D&D one.
yeah, I've been making a video on that, and
Cool.
it's been taking me like over a week and a half to do it.
Good. I like
And yeah, it's at 26 minutes. I kind of expect this video to be 40
Nice.
minutes long.
Fucking A, that's a little epic you got going on.
Oh God damn! Well, you understand, man. Like my background's in anthropology, so when they start talking about the shit and they get it wrong, I get very opinionated. And I also and you have to whip out the I won't say the facts, but the things that he misuses. And Andre, he kind of did a segment on a live stream, which I kind of clipped and used in here. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things with the guys is very intellectually dishonest on stuff. I've read the entire article. I'm reading it again, and he tries to back up his arguments using quotes, but they're quotes without context, right? And the article is painfully long, and I think at this point maybe I'm a third of the way through it, and I don't want to cover the entire thing because it's just garbage, and I'm trying to hit the major highlights of it, but it's taking forever.
You could use like just the general misconception too, right? Like you could use that just some guy's video where he's featured that other girl who had it all wrong. Like you could like that would be an interesting kind of just cross section of how people just have it. They just got it all wrong.
Yeah, well, the problem is he's trying to use actual science. Andre called it, Tom. It's really pseudoscience. But he's basically, it's like, the word tribe for some reason has become like a dirty word. And it's because it was used by colonizers and anthropologists. It's like, well, it's used in the terms of the evolution of society. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with this word.
It's a legitimate fucking term.
It's a legitimate term. And the whole thing is like when they don't understand, all right? Now, the guy knows, he understands. He's basically calling it racist when it's not. Is that when you have band level societies, there's more of them and they group together, they're tribes, and part of that is that that term was used obviously amongst the Native Americans and the tribes in Africa and stuff like that. But the thing they don't understand too is that term also applied to Europeans. But the issue is when that term was adopted, the Europeans have already their societies have already developed past that level of that societal level, and you can definitely see that the same thing applied to the Germans when the Romans encountered them, because you had the Germanic tribes, and again we refer to them as Germanic tribes, like the
for all you viewers,
the Visigoths, the Goths,
the comics,
and
he gets
so anyway,
his history right.
If anyone's viewing who's not subscribed to comics, but they are subscribed to me, that's fucking crazy.
But anyway, so like I said, it's pointing out all this shit where he gets it wrong, and on top of that, it's the blatant misuse, because in 5th edition D&D they kind of patterned the barbarian off of Vikings, kind of, and he's like saying, well, this is wrong because the Vikings weren't barbarians. It's like, you're right. They were just like any other kind of medieval group. But when they came in mass and raided England and sorry, not England, England, not London. When they went in and raided England, I'm pretty sure the native inhabitants saw them as being savages.
But point of Scottish privilege, they invaded us too, and they were savages.
Nobody cares. I'm kidding.
But also, they didn't speak the fucking language. They were barbarian.
And for all I know, they're my ancestors. For all I know,
guys, but it's fucking mythology. Like, gnomes don't exist. Dragons don't exist. These are
that's exactly it. He's trying to prove his point by saying this was used to inspire this thing that is not real. And therefore it is inaccurate, and therefore they should not be barbarians. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. They were inspired by the Vikings. It doesn't mean they can't be adapted and used in this way. It's like you are criticizing something that is not real.
Right.
Also,
by using like a one for one
real
comparison.
world comparisons, and it's like, no, dude.
Like, that barbaros means doesn't speak Greek.
No,
so I'm pretty sure the fucking Vikings didn't speak Greek.
Well, the term originally was developed by obviously by the Greeks, and it basically anyone who was not Greek was considered to be a barbarian.
Yeah.
Later, it applies. The Romans adopted it too, and anyway, the term was largely used against other Europeans, and the whole thing is ridiculous.
I heard it was because the Greeks, to everyone who didn't speak Greek, all the languages sound like bar 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 bar.
That's what I don't know if that's actually the case, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I heard. That's what I came barbarian.
What's that called in English when it's like something is like the word is the way it sounds?
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah, like it's very possible. It's just an onomatopoeia for Greek.
Yeah, probably just as much as when you say ching chong for like Asian languages, where it's just it sound. You don't understand what that word, any of those sounds are, so you just make up a thing for it. So it's like bar bar. It's also bar 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 bar.
I'm gonna give you a really useless piece of trivia. One of my favorite artists of all time, Todd Rundgren, has a song called Onomatopoeia, and the whole song is about that. So useless trivia for you there.
Todd Rundgren? Why does that sound familiar?
Todd Rundgren, the guy that played guitar, he played guitar and produced Bat Out of Hell. He played all that motorcycle guitar, and he had a hit with I Saw the Light was a big hit back in the early 70s. And he's done a bunch of stuff. But anyway, he had this great song called Onomatopoeia, and it was all about that.
Oh, cool.
So just showing my rock trivia there.
Very well done. Your name
it was boring, wasn't it? It was freaking boring.
Oh yeah. Why am I surprised you saw the Clash from the UK? Name is 70s.
I've seen everybody, man. Honestly, I was at the right age.
You guys shouldn't watch me. I'm dumb.
I've seen most of the big classic rock bands, and I saw all the punk bands just at the right time.
Awesome.
That is so amazing, and I'm rather jealous that you were able to see all that.
Yeah, you don't want to be jealous that I'm so old, though, do you?
No, I'm not jealous. I'm not that far behind you, but
Oh no, I was lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. In the UK in the late 70s, you could see everybody.
Yeah, you're only like a decade older than me.
For us over here, we'll probably know Todd Rundgren best as the guy who did the drum song.
Oh yes,
I don't want to work.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Really? All day. Yeah, that guy.
Well, he's one of my favorites, although he's a bit of a dick now. But his album "Something Anything" is one of the greatest albums ever made. He played every instrument on it, and it's fantastic. So I recommend it. Something Anything. I could do a whole video about that.
Did he loop instruments?
Like, anyway, he did play. I am on a loop. You've said that before. So Todd did play. He played all that motorcycle guitar in Bat Out of Hell. That was him. So very underrated guitar player.
Very interesting. Thank you for that trivia, Tom. Tom, what you got coming up, brother?
God, we got all kinds of crap coming up. Videos. We're starting Midnight's Edge Espanol this week.
Yes, that's with Latino Slant, right?
Yep. Polly's kind of heading that up for us.
Yeah, he was on this channel on Tuesday, and we were talking when we were talking From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, outside of that, nothing really specifically going on.
Well, cool. I mean, launching a whole other channel sounds pretty big.
Yeah,
sounds pretty big. Yeah, well, everyone knows Midnight's Edge. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Tom, as always, brother. And thank you, Comics. I didn't want to just pass up the.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Thank you very much. 24/7. How you doing, bro?
Oh man, just making videos and just trying to just getting ready to go live on my channel here in the next couple of weeks. So I don't really do live shows, live streams or anything, but I'm gonna get around to it. So you guys start seeing me, doing that on the channel. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a new way to reaching out to the subscribers, and I'm excited to see what happens at that point. So,
fucking heck, yeah, cool. Good luck. It's fun, man. It's fun. It's a little wild, especially if you just fire up the camera by yourself. But I don't know. For me, my panic motivated me to get better at it because I have to say something, just speak. And so I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping to get into that this week, so wish me luck.
Yeah, right.
At the time, I have no idea what the fuck I'm saying.
I don't think we've heard enough from 24/7 tonight, though. We need to hear more from you, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think
you definitely will. Yeah, it was just the conversation just man, it was interesting. So I just I was listening. I was doing more listening than anything. So
plus your whole mic
I
setup
enjoyed it.
got murked. You're doing I think you're on your phone now. Is that what I'm understanding?
Who, me?
Yeah, because you had a whole setup before, and it was it kept flipping out and fading.
Yeah. I'm on my phone. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason the computer kept. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with the internet.
Sucks.
Plus, it's raining. It's raining out here, so it might have something to do with it.
Yeah, it's raining here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was a blast. This was really fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. All the panelists, you guys are amazing. Tom, Comics, Ace, 70s, 24/7. You guys are rad. Chat, you guys are dope. Find out SA, New Bomb Turk, Pop Culture Archivist, The Wake Down, Sentient Dildo. You're not as cool, but thanks for showing up. Robert, Mike DiCarlo. The Islington girl was here. Vigilante Williamson is now in the chat. Lasso of Truth. Everyone who showed up, this was a fucking rocking show. Thank you guys, and I had a blast. And we'll see you all next Friday. Have a great night.
Cheers, man.